Hello everyone, we're here with the Pick Your Poison Last Chance Qualifier, and we're here to watch a bit of an interesting matchup. It's Clarions Lemonade Stand versus Flex gonna give it to you, and there's a lot of familiar names here.
Oh, definitely. Flex gonna give it to you. A familiar nasty team versus another team that had some great showings in Launchpad coming into the season, right? Clarion's Lemonade Stand featuring FF78, Showbagel, and Adrian. And on the opposite side, we have Matu, Cold Ramen, and Tomo Taco for Flex.
Yeah, and this is this is just the last chance qualifier for Tier 2 Invitational, so all the teams here will really be vying for that final spot available. I believe there's only one spot available, right?
Yep, that's correct, because I believe only one team declined their offer to participate in PIP, or Pick Your Poison. So one team will be making it out of the 7 that are participating today in this qualifier.
That's pretty brutal. There are some scary teams in here. There's one team that I think most people would predict to make it all the way through, but who knows? It's all about who's best on the day, not who's the best on paper.
Of course, yeah. But there are a few fun dark horses that I'd like to see succeed, and that's something we'll have to wait to get to a little bit later, as we have a pretty interesting match ahead of us. Era X, right? This comp is something that has kind of faltered lately, but it's starting to come back slowly. Thoughts?
Yeah, and most importantly, it's a comp that's generally pretty simple to pilot, right? And simplicity, ease of execution means a lot in terms of consistency here. And we'll see if they'll be able to do that, be able to push those corners, maybe pick up a Monumentalist along the way. And also, it's a Might of the Colossus start, so that Era X combination gets a little bit scarier.
Yeah, and even with the Rasmus backing it too, right? Rasmus, another character that really loves this size and then the power of the size too, because Rasmus goalie can put so much damage into the enemies, and while we don't see this damage yet, we see a lot of barriers being taken from both sides. Cold Ramen looking to maybe close out this point, and a great pass to Matu does it as Matu takes the opener.
1 point already gone, and a lot of energy built up. Importantly, Matu sitting nearly at a full bar here, and if that X gets a hand on the core, gets sped up by the Era, bad things will happen to Clarion's Lemonade Stand. Showbagel trying to find some presence on the barrier here, does get the top one, but it's so hard to get that final barrier.
Yeah, that final barrier is pretty difficult, and it's even more so when you have stuff like the Rasmus, stuff like the Kazan, both goalies that have pretty good defensive capability when you think about it. But we see both barriers already having fallen for Flex, and perhaps a second one to also fall for Clarion's Lemonade Stand, but this missed strike actually means it's saved for the time being.
Alright, and oh, the core speed accelerates right on time, and oh no, that's a bit of a goal for Clarion's Lemonade Stand.
Yeah, cooler in favor of Clarion's Lemonade Stand, and now looking at the energy economy, it is roughly even, maybe slightly favored towards Clarion's Lemonade Stand, actually having those 2 flips prepared. Perhaps one even getting used here on the defense. I guess not. They'll just forfeit the barrier. And even the second one, as the crash down doesn't come down in time.
Flip now out from Tomo Taco. Tomo's been impressing me so far this game. Has been very active on this Rasmus goalie, but is going to have to face that flip in the face. Tomo Taco in the corner. Flip out from Cold Ramen as Tomo advances in the midfield, and this kind of presence is what we need, but you got to be careful when the flip is in there. Adrian gets it away to Showbagel, who scores a perfect snipe to the bottom side. Really good patience in the midfield.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian has been demonstrating so much patience. I've noticed a lot of time off of the kickoffs, he's been baiting out strikes from Ma again and again, and yeah, again there, right? Waiting and making sure he gets the second strike to get some pressure, even though nothing was gotten by it. It's just a good showing overall.
Yeah, but Tomo's been great on the defense too. Forget about that last point. Flex gonna give it to you. Need to advance this offense though, and Ma's flick barely misses the barrier. Not what you like to see. FF78's only gonna scale harder as the game goes on. Additional size on that Kazan's gonna make it so difficult to reach.
But a good kill onto Adrian, and that's the second barrier that already falls. The patient strikes out by Tomo, the flip ready by Ma, the kill, and no flips even needed for that second goal for Flex.
huge energy advantage for Flex now. All they need is one good flip to finish this off, and FF78 just holding a little too far back in the goal box against the Nex, and good on Ma for really punishing that.
Yeah, very well played, but again, we see a lot of core control, just making sure that the core stays onto the side of Flex, forcing Tomo to burn that flip. One barrier is taken. Ma uses his flip to get the second one, and now we have an open net in favor of Flex. Will they find it here? The strike war is enough for Ma, and that is a 3-2 set in favor of Flex.
Wow, that was just really, really good offense by Ma in the corner there. Not overcommitting on the flip, getting the follow-up strike wars, and they're rewarded, but the draft order is a little bit unfortunate, right? The goalie, the Rasmus goalie getting first pick on Fight or Flight really sucks. You would have rather the X have been first pick for that instead. And although there are still great picks available like that Built Different, if the X and Rasmus were swapped there in the XP order, this would have been so good for Flex.
I mean, but look at this. This X is going to be a monster now with the Built Diff and then the Among Titans size boost. The Among Titans also going on to the Rasmus. The Rasmus and the X are both going to hurt, and we can already see this size advantage just visibly present. But on the other side, right, a lot more mobility between the Super Surge and the Explosive Entrance. I want to see what the side of Clarion's Lemonade Stand can do to combat the size.
It's going to be tough, though, because now the X has reach that's able to match up with the Kazan very well. The greatest strength of the Kazan is the reach, but if you're against the massive X, that strength turns into a weakness here. Bagel, though, continuing to find some offense as both barriers go down on the other end, and FF78 pretty comfortable in the open net as Adrian and Bagel are finding a lot of possession.
Yeah, a lot of possession. Now Showbagel needs to close it out. Doesn't really manage to yet, but a crucial pass could come through. Good strike war is getting won by Adrian, but that one is lost. Tomo with a great position, making sure the core stays forward. Ma has this flip. He is ready to rip it, and where does it go? Up to Cold Ramen. Gets the finisher after an awkward clear out of FF78.
Yeah, there's a reason you don't see that Bewitching Beam scoring too often. It's not a really great scoring ability, but covering the top there really well is Cold Ramen and FF78. A little bit of a panic clear there, but, you know, it's still the first point of the set. And there's still a lot of Omega Strikers left to be played here, but Bagel's missed flip on that offensive opportunity is going to hurt.
Yeah, and Tomo, on the other hand, finds a barrier with his flip. Perhaps a second thanks to the pressure coming up at Ma. These strike wars won so well to the size. And Tomo's also reinforcing with a great whiplash. That NATO also doing so much work. But now a missed strike war means that Showbagel can actually find a barrier of his own. And now with an open net on both sides, this is looking dangerous.
Yeah, Bagel looking for the mix-up on the strike time. He goes for the back pass, but Adrian's not ready for it. Bit of miscommunication here, and Cold Ramen has flip available. One good pass to the midfield. Cold Ramen sends it forward, but Adrian now giving Bagel yet another opportunity, and Tomo, that was a bit of an ambitious hook. Respect the attempt, but it kind of set up Bagel.
Yeah, I think the one thing is I really didn't like Cold Ramen's choice to just flip it and keep it bottom side. What I feel like should have happened is Cold Ramen just sends it up to the top side, and then now it's not necessarily a free chance for Ma to grab it, but it makes it a lot easier than having to contest Adrian, who also has a flip, if anything.
Oh, but that primary from Adrian was brilliant, and Bagel catches the clear as well. Clarion's Lemonade Stand coming alive in that point. That was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, a great show of teamwork, right? This Clarion's Lemonade Stand team has also been playing together for quite a while, similar to Flex. Even if they didn't make it into a league, it is just a group of friends that have been playing together, and that synergy definitely showing.
Yeah, and you got to watch out for Ma, though. Although Showbagel still continuing to find these barriers, Ma is the Titan on the other end that you need to watch out for. One barrier down, flip for another. And with both barriers down, Flex going to give it to you, trying to even up this set.
And they very well might be, but a great strike war win out by FF78. Tomotako giving Ma another chance. And it's not Ma, but Cold Ramen who finds it off of a great rebound.
So it's a 0.5 here to determine if Flex can take a decisive lead. And it's looking quite realistic. Ma is a bit of a monster with so much size on the X, and if Tomo can just get a little bit of consistency here, I think that'll be enough to keep the offense up, but it's all Bagel right now as the first barrier goes down.
Yeah, first barrier goes down, and then the other thing to keep in mind is that the only person who's really close enough to flip is Show Bagel. He earns it right there, and that's the barrier that drops. The flip actually won by Show Bagel, and it goes to the top side in another 3-2 set, this time in the other direction.
Yeah, and the offensive playstyle by Tomo has rewarded Flex with a lot of strong offense, but there have been times when the strike war just isn't one in the midfield, or it's just a little bit overcommitted and bad things happen. This draft, though, is a really interesting catalyst, and 1-2 punch jump out at me here, but the fact that there's 3 sparks here, it means that there's a lot of power gone missing.
Definitely a lot of power, and actually Adrian grabbing the spark of Rezil, I guess not really want to scale, but making sure that he gets a little extra speed and then makes it harder for him to die. The 1-2 punch over spec training I think is a little bit of an interesting choice, but perhaps just a stylistic decision. And then the prime time also getting picked up for Cold Ramen.
Yeah, the prime time is going to be so valuable for that era, to the point where maybe it should have been denied here. Ma's going to get so much uptime on that buff, and Ma is looking so massive, taking up the entire goal box. The bell ringer hitting everybody, and Cold Ramen doing the supporting job perfectly in the midfield, but Tomo's gotten mixed up by that twice. Bagel is in Tomo's head right now.
Yeah, living rent-free, but the people who are living rent-free now are Ma and Cold Ramen. A great shrink, actually, making sure that FF78 can't find that clear.
Yeah, the offense has been on point for both teams, honestly. The defense is difficult because of how well the offense is playing, how overwhelming some of the pressure is. The Dash Awakens Zentaro, the massive X, and now Cold Ramen running along the field. A perfect NATO to guarantee that barrier, and a perfect bounce to the bottom side as well as Tomo steps up, finds the offense continuing as Ma sends the core forwards, but Bagel picks it up yet again, and Bagel's been really consistent on the offense.
Yeah, I mean, so much damage was dropped onto the members of Clarion's Lemonade stand, but no abilities were actually dropped to finish that off. And unfortunately for Flex, they didn't really get that chance to take the barrier then, but they did now. A great hook means that Tomo is able to save this barrier for now, and Tomo has this flip in case he needs it. Burns that flip up to Ma, who wins another strike war against the Kazan.
Yeah, it's kind of making me feel like FF78 should just strike early and then use the hook, you know? Because you're probably not going to win the strike war against the Massive X. I think you have to play for the loss situation and play for the preemptive hook active hitbox.
Yeah, but can we just talk about the damage that just got dropped onto Show Bagel there? He just got completely nuked, but he is back now in the play. Having taken some damage, it's up to Adrian to kind of secure that barrier on the top side. And now, with Show Bagel finally finished off, Flex need to figure out a way to get it out of this defensive corner and convert it into some sort of offense.
And Tomo does that beautifully with the whiplash from center stage. Cold Ramen and Ma playing the corner here, but with Bagel's respawn, that's going to be a lot more difficult. Ma has flip, but getting a good chance to use that is going to be pretty difficult here when Adrian and Bagel are just stuffing the midfield.
Yeah, and they're doing a pretty great job of it. The flip actually burned by Ma. That means that second barrier is taken. Cold Ramen, all we need is a flip here. Where does it go? It's saved by Adrian. And now with Ma taken off the map, Show Bagel has a flip of his own ready for this offense. He may not need it, but another great save out by Tomo. It just keeps going, rotating around and around. The barrier's still alive. A great save out by Tomo. He just keeps doing it again and again. The Flex goalie is popping off here.
Oh, but so is FF78 in the open net, using the Kazan to its full potential with all of the reach in the open net, not looking threatened in the slightest at the moment. Ma's going to have to find a stuffing play or a quick dribble, but that one just goes slightly out of reach despite the massive size, but the barrier still stands.
Yeah, the barrier stands, and uh-oh, that's not what we want to see as a hook takes his own barrier, but the core is getting kept forward now. But, oh no, Tomo misses the primary, and it just goes right around him. Show Bagel salvaging the point.
And that's happened quite a few times, right? Tomo steps up with the primary, leaving the bottom of the goal open. And that's where Clarion's Lemonade Stand has earned so many points so far this game. And if that changes, that would be a big difference for Flex. But forget about the defense. It's all about the offense right now. As Tomo steps up, Cold Ramen falls back. They keep the core rotated forward, and Ma, all it takes is one flip.
Yeah, Cold Ramen smartly making sure that no double barrier happens, and Maw, he is big enough where he can actually find that strike. I am shocked.
Didn't even use the flip. It was the last point, but who cares? Just had enough reach to get it done. And here's another size awakening for the X. That's Demolitionist coming in, and that might be the game.
Well, not just Demo. Look at this. There's also a Monu here, and Era is in prime position to deny it away from now. And it's also just amazing for Era as is.
Yeah, the perfect combination here, as nothing nearly as strong is available for Clarion's Lemonade Stand. They'll pick up the scraps, but here's an extra special as well. Extra special specialized on that. Rasmus is going to pull people out of position so reliably.
Yeah, let's hope it's people. Let's hope it's not the core like that one point. But, hey, all good. Flex did win that out, and in the end, they may look to close this out if their play remains the same as before. And wow, what a kill found out by Maw.
196 power, I believe that's unbuffed. So buffed is well into the 200s. Maw is a monster, and that Monunado is only helping, but Showbagel still has Tomo's number when it comes to those dashes, but it's not going to be enough when they have to take one barrier each, and Maw is already working on the goal.
Yeah, and I mean, a great strike out by Cold Ramen, but an even better hook out by FF78, and Maw, with the size, continues to win Strike Wars, this time against Adrian, to find the goal.
It's not even fair. Like, if Adrian won that, that would have been a miracle. The size difference is just ridiculous. The reaction time difference is crazy. Like, you just get so much more leniency in terms of how you can play those strike interactions. And Tomo with the great whiplash gets it out, but Bagel continuing to find the offense here. And oh, okay, the top spin takes out the X, and maybe this is a chance for Clarion's Lemonade Stand.
Yeah, they may find a way to convert this here, but Strike Wars won again and again by Tomo. Tomo showing that when it comes to the strikes, he knows what he's doing. And now, even though that flip did falter, he does fall back and have his teammates behind him to figure things out for him. And now it's Showbagel looking pretty low. He's trying to find a way to take this barrier. Maybe just not yet as these Strike Wars continue to get won. But this Catalyst, the energy is just forming, but now he has no energy and is taken off the map.
In this power play now, there's such little space to work with. The NATO just cutting off the entire lane. Cold Ramen buffing and debuffing. But wow, FF78 wins an impossible strike war versus Maw and does it again. And it's just keeping this point alive.
Yeah, all I'm saying is both of these goalies have been pretty on point with their strike wars. And we see it again. Another great strike war against that EI rush. The flip out by Cold Ramen. The rebound actually to get that barrier, and we have an open net. Adrian has this flip, might actually get it past to Showbagel, and the strike is won out by Showbagel. I'm not even sure if that should have been a strike war. I think Tomo had the chance to clear it.
Yeah, Tomo hit it right into Bagel. A bit of a panic clear there. It would have been a very easy one if it went vertical. But, you know, they're still in the lead, you know? Think about the positives here. All they need are 2 more points, and they advance with the 1-0 record.
Yeah, and a 1-0 record would be in prime position because if I recall correctly, I think the winner of this should be playing Atlas's Gardeners in round 2. But that is something we'll have to see as Showbagel's already taken off the map. Maw having the slip ready for the offense is kind of crucial as Cold Ramen just continues to feed it down.
Tomo now. Oh, that happens again. How many times has Tomo stepped up unsafely and pendulum swing to lose a barrier? That's not what you like to see. Still has a flip available, but needs to be way more careful. And FF78, on the other hand, maintaining this barrier just barely, but the damage pressure is coming in.
Yeah, but the damage pressure is also coming in on Maw, right? Maw taking a surprising amount of damage. Tomo, a good attempt to try and get it to bounce off that wall, but Showbagel slightly better with the slice and dice.
Yeah, but Tomo stepping up like this, getting a little impatient, I think. Because stepping up is good, but these situations are just not it. And it's costing them points. It might cost them this entire set.
Yeah, there is pretty good potential for that to happen, and Flex really don't want to see that. A good clear by FF78, but they do lose 1 barrier in the process, perhaps 2, but not if Adrian and Showbagel have something to say about it if they can find this clear.
They got to be careful, though, because it's so much knockback, so much damage coming out from Maw. And Tomo, how many times? Like, holy moly, it's happened every single time so far. That is indeed the entire set.
Not like this. Oh, God. Flex, keep it together. We need to figure this out, right? But FF78, MVP, what's left for them? I think Rapid Fire is good. Perfect form. Yeah, big fish. I forgot. There is still one more size awakening there. And thankfully for FF78, it doesn't go to X.
Yeah, and thankful in this draft, a lot of the good stuff went in the previous draft, so a perfect form here would make it so that the X isn't scaling too hard, right? Stacks on Stacks is probably going to be the pickup. It is still incredibly strong, but okay, I think Castle Blast is a bit of a misdraft there. I think Stacks on Stacks would let Ma take over the game, but giving it to the goalie is fine too. If it indeed falls down, I feel like Bagel should have taken it instead in that spot, actually.
Hey, all I'm saying is Tomo can walk up more without being punished thanks to Stacks.
Oh, are you sure about that? It's all about the active frames of the pendulum swing, not about the speed itself. We'll have to see if that's indeed the case. Yeah.
Other thing to note, actually, is now we have Rapid Prime on the Era.
Oh,
right? That is a pretty big
that's a game winner. Yeah, that's a game-winning combination, but it happens again. Tomo once again stepping into the unsafe zone, punished for what seems like the 12th time, I think, this game. But FF78 this time, the one who's punished. An ambitious attempt to catch the core there will lead to a goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think just well played on really both sets of forwards on being able to capitalize off of the misplays of the opposing goalies. But realistically, they shouldn't be happening as frequently as they are.
Yeah, Ma, though, looking like a monster, has that flip available and is pushing forward into the corner, looking to try and close out this game. The flip used and blocked away at the last possible moment by the evade clear. This Oni's blade almost enough, but it still scores in the end. And with the barriers down, FF78 in a very tough spot.
Yeah, and a great redirect attempt out by Ma, but an even better flip out by Show Bagel as he takes that second barrier, and now Cold Ramen needs to find a way to procure the core to Adrian. But Tomotako, he has this flip on the defense. The flip burned out by Adrian. The flip burned out by Tomotako. It just goes back around, and now FF78 is looking to help on this offense, but might be punished for it. Wins a strike war crucially, and now this core is kept forward. No goal actually found yet. Cold Ramen might have to flip, and yes, he does, but at least he finds the goal.
All right. Yeah, really good flip there. Really decisive. FF78 almost reached that as well. It was a crazy sequence of saves. And Flex, they look like they've stabilized just enough. They look like they're keeping the core on the offense. And if that is happening, they are winning, and especially with the power plays coming through.
Oh, but a great hook out by Tomo, and they find both barriers thanks to the knockback, and now Clarion's Lemonade Stand are in a terrible situation, but the Maelstrom is actually the thing that ends this game.
And Flex will be the team picking up a win in this first round. And that is always good. You always want to start Swiss with a win, or else you'll be in a lot of trouble. You'll be in hot water.
Look, all I'm saying is Flex gave it to them, right? As their name, served, right? Served on a silver platter to Clarion's Lemonade Stand, and just taking a look at this, right? Really, both brawlers, and also Tomo for that matter, insane damage, right? This might start was not to be understated. The amount of damage that was just put out was not always resulting in kills, but it made it so that a lot of the opponents couldn't figure out what to do. It put them in bad positions, really.
Yeah, but we're going to take a very, very quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for the next round. We're right back into it with round 2. We're here with Tea Time versus the Power of Friendship, or Power of Friendship versus Tea Time. Take your pick. And there's a bit of a fan favorite on the side of Tea Time.
Yeah. Trevor YZF, aka I am the Milkman. Recent face who's shown his prowess in weeklies, right? Getting top 4, I think, in both of the most recent weeklies that have kind of gone on. And he will be backed by Turbo and Wii, right? Wii is actually another face that has performed pretty well in some recent weeklies. Now, on the other side, we have an established nasty team in Power of Friendship. Thoughts?
I like the Power of Friendship in this matchup, of course. They're established. They have shown to play well. It's taking the known quantity, basically, versus the new kid on the block, but we've been surprised before.
Yep. We have definitely been surprised, and one funny little thing I want to note is Weston being known for Atlas and Trevor being known for Mako. They're actually swapping their picks this game, right? Handing them off to one another, and we are going to be seeing Wii taken off that Juliet, but Turbo getting one of his comfort picks of Imi.
Yeah, and Wii not on the Juliet is a little bit disorienting, but I have seen Wii on the Rasmus quite a few times as well, so I do trust that pick. And Turbo, you kind of gassed him up a little bit before the cast started, and I'm starting to see it now. I'm seeing the vision.
Yeah, I mean, Turbo is another one of these up-and-comers, right? Actually, at the end of last season, he did get very close to, or actually, he did hit the bottom of Pro League, and did sit there for quite a bit, right? And he has shown that he can hang in some of these lobbies, but I really want to see what he can do in an actual tournament scene.
Yeah, Cero now wanted to find some scoring attempts, and oh no, Trevor, a little bit of panic there. Not quite ready for the bounce, a bit of a strike shot moment. It happens to the best of us. Unless you're like me and not take strike shot ever, you know? Like, it'll never happen to me.
All I'm saying, Pauldrons might not be it. But hey, every goalie gets one strike shot like that, but we cannot be losing strike wars like that, unfortunately. And now Ship is favored in another point, and they may very well find it here off of a great double banish.
A perfect double banish by Mr. Flambeau. And Mr. Flambeau was playing in ISS yesterday, right? And finding double banishes, so that is definitely something that we see from him quite often.
Yeah, Moon Warlords get it done, and, well, they may very well get it done against Tea Time today with how things are showing so far, but maybe Turbo has something to say about it. Finding one barrier, maybe a good pass up to Wii to find the second. Actually, an angle of his own that finds it, and now Wii looking to close this out. A great glitch pop layer, but an even better save out by the defensive members of Power of Friendship.
And one barrier taken there. Cero kind of wanted 2 barriers, but, you know, you got to take what you can get. The banish goes wide this time as Wii goes in, but a good flip out and a KO found by Cero as Wii was a little overcommitting into the goo.
Yeah, and he did pay for it with his life, but he'll be back up in 3 more seconds. Can Trevor hold on for long enough? Yes, he can. And now with Wii back in the play, an open net means that the Tea Time team is really going to be favored here. But a great pillar means that space is bought, and the second barrier finally falls. The side of the Power of Friendship looking to finish this off, and Trevor a little too slow to react, and Sarah with a great mix-up.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like Trevor is just not comfortable, and that is playing a big part because he's pre-moving a lot. He's kind of fading away after he makes a save or he gets a strike, and that just leaves the previous position wide open. Cero's recognizing that really well, punishing really well, and it'll be even easier for Cero to do that with the prime time with 2 hooks available.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of the same sort of thing that helped the Power of Friendship take them through their run, right? Cero's, I'm not going to say unexpected, but Cero's ability to recognize gaps in the defense of the opposing team and just absolutely exploiting them, right? He figures that out, and the one thing to note is, at the very least, Wii does have this Might of the Colossus that's going to start scaling, and same with Turbo having the perfect form, which is an amazing pick for the Imi. But then on the other side, there's already going to be some speed coming in from West.
Yeah, Wii taking a lot of chip damage here as the pillar lingers a little uncomfortably. Flambeau making a solid save, but Turbo still finding a barrier take here. And good patience by Trevor here. Just keeping the core away, getting those layered strikes with the teammates. But this corner situation is really tough. And Zero, again, perfect coverage.
Yeah, capitalizing off of it. And a great one strike where actually by Turbo to buy time for tea time, but he is looking so low and so dangerously close to death, but he might be looking to finish off Zero instead. The hook goes wide off of a great evade, and with the maddening descent, he's now actually healed up.
So is and Zero is low once again. Trevor thinking about whether he should commit onto the kill, but it will indeed not be possible here. Turbo, good strike war wins, but it's not quite enough. Flambeau sends it past the mid line, and Zero stuffed out by the Expanse. Trevor continuing to hold the defense here, but it's still an open net, and a perfect banish denies the cyber swipe.
Oh man, honestly, amazing banish, but even a really good flip there actually by Flambeau, because Trevor had that strike shot on lock, and that probably would have messed up the offensive play. But Flambeau recognized that and actually just popped the flip to make sure that that play is secure.
Yeah, and with the center going in Zero's favor, this Kazan's going to be a menace here, pulling the core. But Trevor saving the strike, keeping it alive. But that last second of the center orb means that Zero can get that KO onto Turbo. And with Turbo gone, it's just Zero and Flambeau rushing up the midfield.
Yeah, and the flip actually burned by Trevor. Doesn't really save his barrier, but prevents two from going down. Another great double banish and a lot of damage coming out into Wii. Wii will be finished off here thanks to the crooked leverage, and now it's up to Turbo to buy some time. Gets the double barrier, and he may actually look for more. The glitch pop, not enough. Actually saved out by Flambeau, but the Firewall Sentry also getting committed. Trevor buying time with his Astral Projection. Actually saves the second barrier as well. And now with Sarah on the offense alongside Flambeau, they're looking to take the second barrier that they've been waiting for quite a while. They finally do. There's the flip. It goes to the bottom side. Flambeau is trying to catch these rebounds. And another great strike. We're out by Trevor. They're buying so much time.
But the score needs to be made, and oh, the overtime! The overtime ticks over right as Wii gets the core. The super-powered red core on the strike is enough to find the goal past Weston. Perfect timing for tea time. That's exactly what they needed.
Yeah, and after such a tussle as that, the tea time, they get to breathe a sigh of relief, and they might be looking to do more with the Whiplash, not actually securing anything just yet, but they really need more of those points.
They really do. This Firewall Sentry this time perfect. Gets it right between the Rune Pillar and the barrier. Now Wii navigating around, but a strike war win by Zero in the midfield. A win by Flambeau in the midfield. Keeping the core forward is Wii. Just barely as the flip hits terrain. The banish goes wide.
Yeah, no banish means it's actually very dangerous, but Turbo actually falls to that fully formed pillar. That's a really tough death to have, and now Trevor needs to find a way to hold this. Burns that flip, but is not able to actually defend it. A great strike. We're one out by Wii. Wii is keeping this play alive. Only loses one barrier as Turbo respawns. Now his Firewall Sentry needs to do a lot of work on the defense. It doesn't, but now Trevor, he has to find these clears if they want to keep themselves alive in this point.
And that's the Expanse down, an important cooldown gone, a flip available, but Trevor finds the last second strike, but these strike shots from Weston continuing to be a threat, and oh, that angle, it was almost enough, and just barely not, and that bounces well from the hook, not enough. Trevor setting it away, but the terrain makes it difficult to side streets, but Wii now with another opportunity, the terrain still not connecting, and Weston a panic evade. Tea time with the lead now.
Yeah, tea time actually finding it. This is just really stressful for both goalies as it's not really just the offenses that make things stressful, it's the fact that there's so many red cores, right? Making these very unpredictable plays happen for both goalies. And that's just something that I want to see which forward is able to capitalize better off of.
Yeah, Wii with the flip now, but the pillar denies the double barrier angle, sniffing out the greed from Wii. A little bit too predictable there, but Trevor setting it forward. Wii setting up yet again a good glitch pop by Turbo, but they can't find a consistent offense. They can't transition from the midfield to the enemy goal box too reliably here. Turbo and Wii, they just don't feel like they're connecting.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with that. I think the other thing I also want to say is that the strike wars coming out layered between Weston and whoever is helping them on defense have been so good.
And Mr. Flambeau, speaking of helping, that pillar is beautiful. And once again, Weston gets the abilities back just on time. A banish found and a double pillar here, but only one will really get the knockback. Turbo still low though, needs to be careful as we plays it with overtime. 2 barriers still alive for Trevor here, but it's such a difficult spot to be in overtime against the Rune, against a Kazan, and so much room to play with.
Yeah, and with the speed coming in from the Mako, that makes things even more dangerous. And 2 flips actually still for the Power of Friendship. 1 flip being burned there, clear out by Trevor. Finds onto the top side, pass up to Turbo. The crash down, not really getting much accomplished, but the strike in the end from Cero. He finds the tying points.
0.5 now, Power of Friendship a chance to have a massive lead with 2 set wins in a row. Even more awakenings on the board, but it's not over for tea time. Although the energy difference is quite apparent, right? Weston still having that insurance flip, and no flip here for the side of tea time. It's going to be difficult, especially when Cero is 1v2ing like that.
Yeah, and I mean, the 1v2 is not that difficult when B is just absolutely playing his life and really just having to, but no life actually left to be played for as he dies there. And now these strikes, these passes have to be so good out by Power of Friendship if they want to find this. A great expanse out by Trevor. He finds the flip cross map. It just gets passed down to Weston, and now Weston's looking for a flip of his own. Doesn't really find it, and the damage now getting dropped on this Mako. She actually pays for it with her life. But the double banish means that it's actually stalled for a really long time, especially thanks to the cast last.
Oh, and Cero really scary there. Almost mixes up Trevor. Tries to find a hook. That would have been beautiful too. But more importantly, Flambeau and Cero stall it out. And oh no, Trevor panics with the expanse. And that could have been a save if the expanse wasn't used.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough situation, right? Because you have to judge that in the moment. Is that even going in? Or is that just going to bounce up to me? And unfortunately for him, it was bouncing up to him, and he could have gotten it. Now, the Kazan is rewarded with size.
Yeah, size and the Monumentalist will be good as a deny away from the Rune and a pickup for the Atlas. But looking down later in the draft, size also being available. But it's all about that Among Titans. It's all about that Among Titans on Runes. It might just be Rune's best awakening. Not because it helps the creations, but it shores up Rune's weakness of lack of speed so well, and it gives size to the team. Like, and you don't rely on your size nearly as much as other midfielders, given that you're a creation user. Like, there's a good chance Among Titans is Rune's best awakening.
Yeah, and I mean, not really just Rune specific. I've personally just been a big Among Titans enjoyer, and I always love when it's in rotation because it's just such a fun awakening to use, right? Because you get to buff your teammates, and you also just get so much speed, right? And that speed has already shown to be so crucial in getting some barriers for the side of Power of Friendship. And Tea Time is really struggling.
Oh, and going for the strike shot yet again. A little bit of impatience means that the Power of Friendship just 2 goals away from closing this one out.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a lot more of a stomp than I thought it would be. But, hey, maybe Tea Time has a way to bring this back.
Maybe, but the damage pressure is huge. The core control difference as well. Mr. Flambeau in there. Cero finding the kill, and Weston keeping the barrier locked down. Okay, wait a second. Bit of a caster curse. Turbo with a huge play to take both barriers, but the respawn still has to come in. A perfect pass, but it doesn't find the barrier. Mr. Flambeau barely missing the corner of it, and now we with a big opportunity, but Weston not giving any opportunities for we to find a pendulum swing.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, it was just a great pillar out by Flambeau, right? Finding that angle and making sure it really couldn't get anything done. Now Turbo has to move up on this offense, get a pass up to Wee. Doesn't really, as it's intercepted by the crooked leverage. And now Trevor has to find a way to clear this out. But with the speed, and he misses another strike shot. Absolutely disastrous as he misses the strike again. And Cero finds another hit past him.
Yeah, Cero is just all over the enemy goal box, finding every opening, punishing every slight mistake. And when you're like, Trevor's pretty new to the whole tournament thing, right? When the pressure is on, Cero is the one really exploiting that.
Yeah, definitely, right? Cero having a lot more experience, or having played a whole season in Nasty himself, and besides the point, right? That's one barrier already taken. Perhaps the second to fall pretty soon if Flambeau continues to play as well as he has with this Rune. Trevor missing the flip, but still saving it nonetheless. But without the flip, it's looking really dicey on defense.
Yeah, good clear out from Trevor, though, and they managed to get out of the corner, but no! Cero has so much reach. One strike's all it takes now. One pillar from Flambeau keeping the core in possession, and Cero just threatening the hook, threatening everything here. A 1v1 yet again, as it finally goes to Wii for a moment, but the core's banished. Flambeau's always there to find the follow-up, and it's looking so difficult as the flip comes in, blocked away. But Cero's still in the midst of everybody, and so much damage is coming out. Flambeau on the top side, and the power of friendship take a decisive 3-0 game.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is not the milkman, as Trevor's not able to save that, as the side of the power of friendship, they really lived up to their name. There's a lot of great team plays I saw from them, just great passes all around, everyone being ready to catch the rebounds, with Cero being ready to catch plays off of Flambeau, Flambeau being ready when Cero is contesting on the bottom side. It's just all around great play from the power of friendship.
And it kind of speaks to the draft too, right? Mr. Flambeau on that rune really enabled all of that. And Cyril on the Kazan was excellent as well, but looking back at the draft, those weren't even first pick. Those were actually the 4th and 5th pick of the draft.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like the power of friendship got away with a little bit in the draft, I gotta say.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think the one thing is I'm not familiar with if Turbo actually has a rune in his arsenal. I mainly know him as someone who pilots this Aimi and Now, right, to pretty solid level. But the Kazan is something that we is definitely very familiar with.
Yeah, well, there's only one more match left in this round. We'll be right back, and when we come back, we'll be seeing another matchup here. Don't go anywhere. Hello everyone, we're here, and this is probably going to be the matchup that everyone was thinking of, right?
Yeah, I mean, Atlas's Gardeners versus Power of Friendship. Some could argue that people were expecting Tea Time over Power of Friendship, but with how the last game went, I think the Power of Friendship definitely made a statement, and are perhaps looking to make another one by seeing if they can take down Atlas's Gardeners. And looking at the picks here, we have Luna banned away from General Twee and Rune banned away from Mr. Flambeau, both midfielders being targeted, but that does leave up the Dubu for Bertram, a pick that he is absolutely known for.
Yep, the Dubu for Bertram and the Juno for General Twee is going to give them a lot of midfield control here. On the other end, we saw the Kazan for Sarah, we saw the Mako for West, and we know what they can do, but I do think, yeah, that Rune ban, very well done.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to keep in mind, right, this Juno pickup is not only a great pick for General Twee, it's also kind of a deny away from Flambeau, right? Because Flambeau's two most well-known picks are the Rune and the Juno. So I'm interested to see what he can do on this IME, but it is a Super Search start, right? One of the picks that is amazing for IME.
It's also amazing for Juno. The Dash Awakening immediately gives General Twee a lot of presence on the map. The first strike shot missed, but this time it's not catastrophic. And Wallaby on that Rasmus is going to have a lot of agency with that speed.
Yeah, definitely. But quick side note, you did mention that Juno does benefit a lot from Super Surge, but General Twee opting for the Adrenaline Rush instead.
Wait, that's crazy. What the hell?
Hey, cooldowns are good or something like that, but other thing to also note, right? We have double slicks on the side of Atlas's Gardeners, while the Mag Souls meta has fully taken over the Power of Friendship. What are your thoughts on the choice of picks here?
Well, I do think it's more justifiable for Juno. You do get a lot more strikes on the ball, I think. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the possession goes, because if the Atlas's Gardeners lose control of the midfield, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, but I mean, with characters like Aimi and Kazan, it is pretty doable to lose that control, and that's a tough barrier to lose, and Atlas's Gardeners is definitely going to capitalize off of that with a great strike. And now Wallaby looking to find a way to push it through this corner, doesn't just yet, and now it's on the opposite side. Flambeau and Sarah looking to do what Wallaby and General Twee couldn't, but the great hook actually means that it's found, even though Weston had that strike shot, Wallaby timing it perfectly.
Wallaby has always been on point with shots like that, and I think the Power of Friendship is not ready for the pace of play that this Atlas's Gardeners team is bringing here. Like, these are three very well-regarded players, so definitely the on paper toughest competition in this qualifier.
Yeah, definitely, and it'd be really fun to see how really either of these teams perform among the competition of the teams already in Pick Your Poison. But for that, one of them needs to make it through, and Wallaby missing out on that kill. I don't think it'll cost him, as some kill will be found in the end, but a barrier is taken in the midst of it, and another one actually by Wallaby as well.
Yeah, it feels like Weston's getting caught off guard quite a bit by the slimes of General Twee. Twee is playing the Juno very, very well, but Sarah the one actually getting the first kill here, and potentially a big opportunity. But General Twee has flip. This set could disappear in an instant.
Yeah, and I mean, a missed dash might actually just mean that it does, because now General Twee and Wallaby are able to find a way to get onto that offense, and there's that flip you were talking about. Bottom side for General Twee.
3-0, pretty decisive in the favor of the Atlas's Gardeners. General Twee first pick, and this Juno picking up hot shot immediately, and with the goalie first pick as well. Fight or flight, gonna be a rough pickup for the Power of Friendship, right? You would like that on a forward on a midfield, but instead it'll have to be denied away by the goalie if you want to take it away from the other team, or it's just gonna be Wallaby getting it. Hot shot and fight or flight for Atlas's Gardeners. I think it's curtains. I think this is GG.
Yeah, I mean, it's all but over thanks to this draft, but I guess on the bright side, Aimi gets extra special. Maybe that's enough to offset it. I really don't think it is, because Hotshot and Fight or Flight are just so good.
Yeah, it is overwhelming here. Sarah getting a spark might lead to some further scaling, but I'm not sure if there will be enough of the game to scale in when all is said and done. Wallaby and Twee just advancing up the field. The core speed, such a threat. One barrier down already. and Cero's gonna have to do some magic here.
Yeah, and I mean, he has found some of these magical plays before, but more will be needed as Flambeau needs to find a way to get it through this midfield. Has some extra speed from Weston, but really it's just staying on their side. It hasn't really left yet, and a great strike war out by Wallaby takes that second barrier, has his Whiplash and the Tofu Fortress to support him, but it's actually the Slimes that send it up to the top. Wallaby ready with that pendulum swing in case it didn't work.
Yeah, this is Gardner's just spamming the Titor emote. I mean, why wouldn't you after a goal like that, and with so much meter built up on Twee as well? Wait a second, the Firewall Sentry on kickoff is proven to be quite effective.
Yeah. I mean, that's what that extra special does, and good attempt at the strike shot, but unfortunately it does take your own barrier. The center is broken here, but to no avail as Wallaby still just finds that second barrier even through everything. Flambeau has this flip, and he's sitting in melee, flubs the flip, and now General Twee and Wallaby can actually capitalize with that barrier advantage, but there's that Firewall Sentry. Nothing to be gained from it yet. Another missed flip out by Cero. We cannot be having that for the power of friendship.
Yeah, and oh, Wallaby, so much speed with the fighter flight, has enough coverage to catch that. Weston didn't expect Wallaby to have so much reach there, but he was there. The Rasmus was all over everywhere and caught that attempt. And part of the main strength of this oh no, Weston. Oh, the game's slipping away from ship.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like this ship is sinking if the things continue to go at this rate. 2 flips, almost 3 ready right in the face of them. No flips actually burned yet, and that Tofu Fortress going down means that there might be some space to be bought. General Twee burns his flip. Wallaby waiting for his, but it's not even needed. The delay on the slime actually takes it for General Twee.
Yeah, the power of friendship. I don't think they're used to playing against Juno as solid as General Twee's. The Juno popularity has been down in recent times, so you either play against Junos who are just using Juno as a crutch, or this.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I like the stacks pickup for General Twee. While he would have had the opportunity to go for something that would guarantee red core on literally everything, having the stacks to make sure you control the midfield and also as a deny away from Flambeau is pretty great. But that does leave up Timeless Creator and another Speed Awakening for Weston to pick up. So I don't think it's over yet for Ship.
Yeah, that draft doesn't make it more over for Ship. It was really the first draft that really makes a difference in this game so far. But part of the strength of this competition with the Rasmus and the Juno is that if the Juno gets hot shot or some kind of sufficient core speed, you could cheat the midfield. You can play all the way back with your goalie, and if you get one good core speed play, the Rasmus can hook to pick it up and just send it into the offense. But so far, the power of friendship nullifying that quite well.
Yeah, now Sarah needs to find a way to kind of get this core into that net. They have an open net. They just have to capitalize off of it, or maybe find a kill on Wallaby. Maybe that's the way they'll secure it, but neither are really yet being found.
Bertram continuing to defend and blocks away the flip as well, but Wallaby finally getting KO'd, and now General Twee trying to help on the defense. The pass being cut for a moment, but the Tofu Fortress comes out. Now Cero setting up, but a strike shot by Bertram is perfect. Still has a flip available and doesn't even need it. Uses it in a panic, but General Twee is there to make the save. And the Slimes are coming in. Wallaby is back. And the power of friendship, barely. A drive-by by Cero is perfect. But it was almost looking bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was about to look like an anime fight gone wrong. The power of friendship nearly failed again. But yeah, as you mentioned, a great drive-by, and now we see these kickoff firewall sentries achieving so much. That first barrier already taken, but again, this is Bertram's debut. First barrier is whatever, they just need to find that second one.
You say that's Bertram's debut, and he rolls past the core, and unfortunately both barriers go down, you know. Not everyone can play perfect all the time, unfortunately, but the Slimes are making it even more difficult for Weston. 2 barriers down already. Wallaby Gangsta going up to the top side, unable to find it, but the Tofu Fortress is perfect. The Slimes making it really scary, but General Twee blocked away for the moment, and Weston finds a little bit of control.
Yeah, now Flambeau needs to find this flip. A great strike shot out by Weston buys time for the power of friendship. The flip and clear out by Flambeau, but it just goes back to their side. The glitch pop not really achieving much. And now Wallaby gets another shot. It goes right past the drum and bass. Too late on the reactivation, and Atlas is Gardner's time.
Yeah, and I think Flambeau misplayed by striking the core when Weston sent it up to the top side. There was so much speed on that core, and Flambeau slowed it down so much, and that gave Atlas's Gardeners a chance to pick the core up. But this kickoff play is good. One barrier down already. They need to make the most of these Firewall Sentry kickoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, they have been so far. We just need more. And this flip, really awkward. The pass still found out by Sero, but the defenses are still looking pretty good out by Bertram and General Twee. No barrier found just yet. There it is. And now Wallaby needs to find another one. Cancels the drum and bass and has the whiplash to just send it right through the defense. Now Flambeau needs to be very careful with no HP to his name. Firewall Sentry already committed on the defense. And he might very well find this. The hook canceled out by General Twee, and it's all but over for this point. A great Strike War win out by Wallaby.
Well, I think avoiding the Strike War entirely, right? Pulling the core out of the hitbox of Weston and setting it to the bottom side. And that's what you want to do. You want to make the goals in the most reliable way possible. And Atlas's Gardeners now 1 point away from closing this out. The power of friendship, though. Kickoffs are their bread and butter, and they need to make the most of it yet again.
Yeah, but keep in mind, the last 2 times, they were able to take the first barrier off of kickoff. This time they weren't, and they lose 2 barriers instead. And Wallaby says, you're going to lose for that misplay. And he takes it. In a clean 3-0 victory, the Atlas's Gardeners farm power of friendship. Okay, pun intended, pun intended.
I can't believe you did that.
It was meant more as a pun and less to be toxic, but all good.
Yeah, the power of friendship, though, their kickoffs, a lot of those points were dominant, right? They often got 1 or 2 barriers right immediately with the IME. So I think that if they regroup and figure out something that works for them, that could help them. I think the Maka pick might have been a slight mistake too. I think Atlas might have been better for the power of friendship if they were able to pick that up, although it doesn't give the team the speed. I don't think they really needed it compared to needing easier defense.
Yeah, I think that's really what it was, right? Because while they did have some issues with converting the offenses, it also just kind of felt like on the defenses, they were struggling to hold long enough, right? Whereas Bertram was able to give General Twee and Wallaby a lot more chances to take these offenses. It didn't feel the same on the opposite side with just the speed.
Yeah, the game was decisive in the favor of Atlas Gardeners, but both teams will be moving on to the bracket stage 2 semifinals. And we'll see which team comes out on top in the very end, because only one team can make it through to pick your poison from this last chance qualifier. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the bracket. Hello everyone, it's been a bit of a long wait, but we're finally back. We're here with semis now. Every team only has one life remaining. It's Power of Friendship versus Tea Time.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I can already say is Tea Time learned from their mistakes. They took the rune off the table, making sure they don't have to deal with that anymore. And also, it looks like Atlas is going back to Weston, and Trevor gets his Mako back. So some big changes actually for both teams.
Very, very big, but I do like this for both teams. I do think that they both displayed in the previous games we watched that they were kind of missing out on those comfort picks.
Yeah, but one thing I really want to talk about here, what are your thoughts on Flambeau actually opting for the Deadeye over Extra Special?
I think it is a very good choice, actually. It's at lab, so damage pressure is a possibility, and Deadeye is one of the best Imi Awakenings. The damage output will be ridiculous, and I don't expect we to survive.
Yeah, I mean, you already see the damage that's being dropped on him, and keep in mind, he has Mag Souls. It's not something like a Vambrace, so more damage is going to come, and he might just get finished off here. Great evade to live for the time being, but Trevor has to hold on this defense.
Yep, but the damage is still coming in. We healing up with the orb, and Sarah the target next. Both teams can damage after all, but it's a tough situation with the Firewall Sentry. Flambeau's setup is great, but Turbo gets sent right into the perfect angle to save that one, and Wee's dribbles have been solid so far. Sarah looking to set up yet again, but wow, Trevor getting the saves, and Tea Time survive for the moment.
Yeah, Tea Time surviving, a great set of saves from Trevor. And now Sero, he's the one who might actually fall off. A good attempt at that death touch to put Trevor out of position. And now the damage is coming. The X Maximus is popped. And a missed Cyber Swipe means that Tea Time may actually have a chance to find this. A missed strike shot and a missed flip. It all misses. Uh-oh, that's really bad for Tea Time.
That is one of the most tragic sequences of all time. Tea Time had it all and lost it all in an instant. The Power of Friendship, they'll take those, but there was none of their involvement in that one.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but that may have been Tea Time selling out their own point, but they're losing another barrier here. Now Sero getting healed up, that means his damage pressure is no longer on him, and without an X Maximus to force anything, it's looking pretty tough for Tea Time.
And Weston, plenty of meter as well. That flip's going to be coming up for the defense pretty soon. And now Sero in a 1v1, but it will be defense there from Trevor. But we just walking up, finding these barriers, looking for another here, but the expanse used perfectly by Weston, making it so difficult for we to find consistent offense.
Yeah, but we might actually find this offense after taking Weston off the map. There's that second barrier it's found. Turbo is pretty low, so makes things a little tough. But if Turbo can get the pass to Wii, he might be able to convert here. Flambeau has this flip. Flip burn. Where does it go? It goes right back to Turbo. And now with Weston respawning, he commits a lot of abilities there. And so does he do with the strike shot. And that might be enough to buy enough space for the Power of Friendship. A great cage from Trevor, but will that be enough?
Trevor still managing to defend with a secondary this time, but the cooldowns are disappearing by the instant. But a great flip across the center. Catches Weston off guard. Tea Time even it up.
The milkman is here to deliver the milk, and he finds a great cross-map flip. And looking at meter, right, we have meter pretty close on Turbo and Sero. I think those are the ones we're really looking at to make these plays here on out. And one barrier is already taken by the Tea Time, and maybe a second to fall if it weren't for that Firewall Sentry on the defense.
We'll see if Weston can keep it going here. We taking a lot of chip damage, but it's Turbo who blinks in and finds the flip right in front of the opening goal gates. Brilliantly done by the midfielder of Tea Time.
Yeah, I mean, Turbo really showing his prowess, right? You know, you mentioned this the last time they faced off, this Tea Time team looking a little nervous, but I think the nerves have kind of fallen off a little bit now. They're finally getting into their groove.
Absolutely, especially with those confident strike shots coming out. Trevor looking at home on the Mako right now, sending the core up to Wii is Turbo, looking for another opportunity, but it's Sarah win the strike wars, but another confident strike shot from Trevor halts the offense for Ship.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of damage onto Wii, and a barrier is actually taken by Tea Time. Wii healing up even more, and now in the face of Weston, the great strike reset takes that second barrier. A pass needs to come into Wii. The speed, really great by Trevor, actually buying a lot of space for Tea Time. But now, the Power of Friendship is back on the offense. A Sad Boys angle off of the glitch pop. and that is not good for Power of Friendship.
Yeah, and although a lot of Atlas and Mako interactions are played pretty similarly in terms of button press, in terms of strikes, Trevor just seems at home on the Mako. Like, the character aside, every single interaction has been way more confident from Trevor.
Yeah, and I mean, Cero finding a great hook. The flip actually committed by Trevor. He's hoping that Turbo can find something on this offense, and he does! He is charging forth with that piercing shot.
Wow, this is a completely different tea time. First set going on over to them, the Power of Friendship. Now on the back foot. And this Mako being first pick. It's a little bit awkward in the draft, but Twin Drive is what I'm looking at here because the secondary uptime is going to be ridiculous with that. Fight or Flight also an option, but it's actually heavy. Wait a second. I feel like Heavy Impact is the worst Twin Drive, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little weird, right? I guess Heavy Impact just thinking that, you know, I'm going to be hitting people a lot more. Maybe I can do something with that. The Aimi gets perfect form and the Rasmus gets size. So it's also not great. But at least Turbo gets the Fight or Flight.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Twin Drive falls all the way down to the Atlas.
Yeah, I just realized.
And with the Twin Drive with the Heavy Impact nerf, right? No longer refunding an incredible amount. It's capped at 3 seconds now. It's just the strictly worse Twin Drive on Mako.
Yeah, and I mean, we've also seen now that Twin Drive, as of recently, has gotten that buff where now it actually does reduce a cooldown, because there was a period in time where Twin Drive just wouldn't reduce the cooldown altogether. But despite that, Tea Time is still actually doing pretty well on this offense. You
curse that a little bit as the barrier goes down, but they are still doing pretty solidly. We strike warring the primary coming out from Weston. Turbo falling back to help defend. The glitch pop a little bit scary, and Cero setting up, but it's We now on the breakaway to the bottom side. The core barely not making it in, but Cero, the backwards whiplash, not what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, for a second I thought it was We with a great X Maximus, but in the end, it really was just Cero with that whiplash, and that's a really tough goal to have lost there.
Yeah, but they're still pushing forward undeterred, but Cero might have to pause for a second because that damage is coming in. Mr. Flambo on the top side finds a flip down. Cero in position, but a great flip, perfectly timed by Trevor. And Weston gets a little bit impatient. Turbo capitalized with the Crystal Thorns, and We finding a KO on the other end. They're looking solid here.
Yeah, We finds the KO, but keep in mind, Weston still has this flip. He has a lot of abilities to be able to commit. That's one expanse. I don't know if he has a second one still available yet. Trevor with a great strike shot buys some time, but now it's on the opposite side. Cero has his flip. He's waiting in this corner. The Firewall Sentry already dropped. Where does this flip go? Does it go straight through? No, it doesn't. It's defended out by Turbo and Trevor, and he might find this pendulum swing. We actually yet, and meanwhile, We is committing a lot of his own abilities on that midfield, but to no avail, and it just seems to have kind of reset altogether.
We now an X, relatively immobile, going to be hard to find their way onto the core, but Turbo, as this Deadeye Estelle, is going to be the main threat here. Flambo setting up with the Firewall Sentry, but unable to set up permanently as what a perfect bull rush after the pass coming in. Tea Time are looking dominant. After the Rune ban, they're looking like a whole new team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it really is just a Rune that they were struggling with. They were kind of struggling with Flambo's ability to just capitalize off of these rebounds and make sure that things would go in. And once that's removed, it's not really as easy if you're playing that Aimi. And we are seeing Tea Time is thriving in these defenses.
Yeah, Turbo finally taken out by Cero. Big opportunity for the Power of Friendship here, but over dribbling is Cero. He sends it right back to the defense here, but they do eventually get it through. And now a dangerous spot for Trevor. The barrier goes down to Firewall Sentry perfect, and the bounce off the center attempted here, and Cero catches Trevor. Panicking a little bit on the defense there. The punish is good. The Power of Friendship back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, the Power of Friendship finding their way back. A lot of flips had to be burned, but look at the energy on the other side. It's not particularly great either, right? Turbo, We, Trevor, all sitting at pretty low amounts of meter, but one barrier taken, but it's actually paid for by the life of Weston. And if Turbo can actually find a pass up to We might be able to take something, but he actually has to fall back for that barrier after so much damage getting dropped on him.
But Trevor now sending the core forwards over and over, and Weston's back. The forwards have defended successfully for the Power of Friendship, and Weston, oh no, that's not what you like to see in a critical point for Power of Friendship to try and keep this one alive, and Turbo just completely dancing all over all three members of the Power of Friendship with the double dribble into the Crystal Thorns.
Hey, he's fighting, he's flighting. That's Turbo for you, and he is rewarded with the MVP. What does he pick up here? The Rapid Fire looks pretty great. The Stacks looks really great. Stagger Swagger, considering the damage in this game, is honestly not a bad idea either.
Yeah, and that spectrating going to be hovered here for Cero, trying to find something with the hook, whether that be core speed or KOs. But Stagger Swagger falling to Wii, who has been the target of a lot of this damage, is going to let Wii just brawl in the midst of everybody and heal right back up. It's a scary spot for the Power of Friendship.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the one thing I want to ask is, what are your thoughts on Trevor picking up Stacks over a speed enhancing awakening?
It should have been explosive entrance. Giving your team more speed would have been better here, and I think it would have let Turbo and Wii take over this game even harder.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with that, but as we see, they're already taking the double barrier there, and now it's nearly over this point, but a lot of damage still coming down onto Wii. Reminder, he does have the Stagger Swagger, so he's going to be moving a lot faster and also just healing up, but the Power of Friendship, they have one barrier still to chew through.
And they do manage to find the final bite there. Cero and Weston connecting on the bottom end. Flambeau rushing forward, but the Cyber Swipe goes a little bit too far, and now a dangerous spot with so much coverage provided by Turbo, who is all over the map here, looking for another dribbling play, this time interrupted by Mr. Flambeau, and Cero on the breakaway, interrupted by Turbo. The goalie's making sure there's no easy shot to be made, and Wii and Weston on the top side trade their strikes, but once again, it goes back to Weston, and Weston's hands. It's scary because Cero doesn't have the same reach that Turbo does.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Turbo, he is pretty low, but Weston, with no flip to his name, loses that strike to Wii, and Wii finds another.
It is slipping away from them. Tea Time are scaling the Power of Friendship. Need to find something here. Need to find a point quick before they go to a final point.
Yeah, I mean, great little combo out there by Wii and Turbo as they find that barrier. Turbo maybe even finding another, right? Because reminder, this Rapid Fire means that he will have a lot of primaries coming up, but maybe he doesn't even need it as Wii flips Maximus and finds the kill and goal.
Wow. Tea Time, a completely different look from before. A much more confident goalie on the comfort pick. And of course, Turbo just popping off. Wii, of course, playing great in both these matchups so far. But the difference really is in that midfield. Turbo has taken over.
Yeah, I mean, Turbo, he's just running around making sure he lives, doing some pretty good damage while he's at it, and that flip to the bottom side means he actually just gets the barrier anyway, and now with Flambeau looking really low with no evade to his name, he pays for it with his price, and Trevor looking for the great flip to the opposite side, doesn't yet find it. Weston still holding on, but this cage, it traps them fully, and Tea Time, they take it in 3-0 fashion.
They get revenge for the loss previously. They move on to the qualification match. Tea Time. What a dominant turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, Tea Time just looking completely different compared to the last time they played against Ship earlier in the Swiss stage. And honestly, I am pretty excited to see that just because I was not looking forward to seeing the exact same thing we saw last time. I wanted some sort of change. And while it was the exact opposite thing, still changed nonetheless.
Absolutely. And with that, we'll have to wait on Atlas Gardeners versus Goloso Cool. We'll see if that match will finish up pretty soon. And after that, there'll be a best of 3 to determine who makes it to pick your poison in that final spot. What do you think, Ether?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think 9 times out of 10, Atlas Gardeners does beat Goloso Cool. And if they do, I do favor them against Tea Time, but reminder, it's different, right? This Tea Time looked dominant against Power of Friendship, and Power of Friendship, while they did lose a pretty devastating match against Atlas Gardeners, I still favor Atlas Gardeners against Tea Time.
All right. Well, we'll be right back. And after the break, there will be a qualifier best of 3 coming up. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're here, final game of the day. Well, multiple final games of the day here. It's a best of 3. We're in the qualifier for Pick Your Poison. Only one team will be able to make it. It's Atlas's Gardeners versus Tea Time. And the maps have been selected. What do you think? It's a pretty standard order here.
Yeah, I mean, nothing too surprising. This will be a tussle of the century. And we will be going to Atlas's Gardeners map pick first. But no surprise, Atlas's Lab. Following that, we'll be going over to Night Market, picked by Tea Time, and should we make it to a Game 3, we will be heading over to Taiko Temple. I'm pretty excited for these, even if they're pretty stock standard maps that everyone loves. I think we have a lot of potential for Tea Time to show their mettle.
Absolutely, and the character picks are coming in as well. The draft has arrived, and what do you think about this one?
Well, no surprise, there's no Mako for Trevor, right? And he does lock in that Atlas, and I'm a little worried based on the first time we saw him on Atlas on stream. It looked a little uncomfortable, but hey, he's got that warm-up game. He's now figured it out. Now it is time for him to lock in. But on the opposite side, look at the comfort. These were the 3 same picks we saw absolutely dismantle the power of friendship. Bertram on the Dubu, General Twee on the Juno, Wallaby Gangsta on the Rasmus. It's frightening.
It definitely is. Atlas's Gardeners, the favorite for a reason here. Tea Time gonna have to prove that they can be a challenge. But if Turbo plays like we saw them in the previous game, I think they have a good chance.
Yeah, and I mean, it was on Estelle, that same previous game where they played really well against Power of Friendship, and again, we on the X, right? I really like, they're just using the formulas that seem to work, and honestly, when you're playing in high-stakes games, that's what you have to do. Pick your comfort, play what you're good at, and execute.
Execution might be hard, though. Again, speaking of playing what you're good at, Rasmus Juno, like you mentioned,
yeah,
a repeat on the stream for Atlas's Gardeners here. It'll be interesting to see how they go about this one as we head into the game.
Yeah, I mean, first things first, full peak performance game. No one opts for specialized training, and other thing to note, Atlas's Gardeners opting for double slick kicks versus the double mag souls of Tea Time.
Yeah, really going against the current tide of things here. Mag Souls has swept the popularity pools, basically. The pick rate is off the charts right now, but General Twee, plenty of strikes to play with. One barrier taken on both sides already, as Turbo keeping up this midfield quite well.
Yeah, still playing pretty well. But talking about that midfield once more, I wanted to mention, what are your thoughts on this Juno versus Estelle matchup? It's been hinted at time and time again that Estelle does seem to struggle.
Yeah, because not really having multi-hits against the Juno, it doesn't have something like the Kai Barrage to get through the slimes, can't mow them down basically with the help of the core. That's definitely an obstacle that you have to work around, and of course the Juno able to hit around the Atlas too as well, and Wallaby, no one expected that on Tea Time, but in hindsight it was a little obvious, right? Wallaby's gonna go for that mix-up, gonna take the core up, gonna send it to the opposite side.
Yeah, the Gardeners sowing their first seed in this series, finding a great strike, and hey, the Tea Time looking to answer back. They get one berry, the X Maximus is popped in the corner, and maybe looking for a good strike to find the second, but no, that roll just completely halting all that offense.
We now trying to layer some strikes, but doesn't quite have enough size to get it done here. As the core goes around the world, back to General Twee. These slimes, the Juno pressure has been something that Trevor has had a lot of trouble dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, he also struggled a lot against the rune pressure, right? It is just these multi-hit, these creations, just everything. Controlling space is something that Trevor, especially on this Atlas, has kind of struggled to deal with. And I think he's really hoping that his forwards can find a quick offensive play, and they find it here, right through that Tofu Fortress, but Wallaby is now inching forward with the flip with General Twee behind him.
Yeah, but there, the good strike shot by Trevor halts the offense, and now we with a chance, but the slime seals it away. Another slime in position, and Bertram, calm and collected, not using the flip. Wallaby with the dribble as well. It's up to Turbo. It really is. Turbo needs to find a perfect snipe, the Crystal Thorn, something to get this goal here, or Wallaby will be the one taking it first. A quick flip to the top side before Turbo can even react. And another goal for Atlas's Gardeners goes in.
Yeah, contrary to his name, Turbo not fast enough in finding that flip, and Wallaby Gangsta another point. And looking at energy, it's really not even that favored for Tea Time, right? Wallaby doesn't have much of a flip, but General Twee is 2/3 of the way towards his, and Bertram is already at his. And despite the kill from Wee, no barriers are still found, buying so much time for Wallaby Gangsta.
So much time, but General Twee to the bottom side looking for another opportunity is Turbo, but the flip's just stuffed away, just struck away. And 2 flips available. Such a tough spot to be in. A perfect snipe by General Twee. Takes the barrier around Trevor, and this time the flip is blocked, but the pressure is unrelenting.
Yeah, I mean, it was an unfortunate expanse once again, but they still managed to stop themselves from losing the second barrier, and now we're in that awkward situation of the both barriers being on the bottom side. But as I say that, the barrier does fall, and now Turbo and Wee, they need to put in some overtime, otherwise they're going to lose this first set. A good bull rush, but not enough, as it just goes past, and now the flip having to be burned by Trevor. That means that they don't have this on the next defense with the open net. Turbo with a Rose Warp, where does this go? It doesn't really go for much of anything, and now that X Maximus also being committed means that there really aren't very many tools left for Tea Time.
Yeah, just struck away. Wallaby to the top side, completely mixing up everyone's expectations there. Unable to get the goal this time as Wee goes in. A nice snipe from Turbo, flipped away by Bertram. The barrier still standing, and the Slime's causing problems here. But Bertram, the strikes have been on point every single time, and Wallaby Gangsta punishes Turbo. That clear was not what you were looking for there. And the first set goes on over to the Atlas's Gardeners. Juno gets first pick, and this just could be the game.
Yeah, and thankfully this time, no hot shot in sight, but you know what it is in sight? Stacks. And we say it time and time again, speed is king. And General Twee has actually been a player who has demonstrated this in so many of the leagues he's played in, right? He has been so patient with his strikes so often, and with speed it allows you to be even more patient. But then on the other side, interesting, the Spark of Resilience being opted for over the Might, I guess just trusting that you can reliably get some speed, as opposed to just hoping you get some size later on.
Yeah, and with that peak performance start, that single spark gets even more powerful, right? We will be a massive draft presence later on into this game. But the main question is, right, can they get to that late game?
Yeah, and I mean, getting to the late game with how this first set went is really looking doubtful. But hey, they find 2 barriers, but can they even convert this goal? We'll have to see, right? General Twee, Wallaby, looking so good with the strikes all around.
Yeah, but that strike shot from Bertram interrupts the offense. Wee, though, setting up perfectly, but a roll is even better. And the log setting up a strike where that Wallaby wins. But that primary from Trevor was brilliant. Turbo a bit overzealous, though. Not quite getting it there. And the Slimes take 2 barriers. A bit of panic now as Tea Time. They need to find something now. Wee to Turbo interrupted by Wallaby, and once again the Atlas's Gardeners, they're all over the map. Wallaby, a beautiful pendulum swing dribble.
I mean, it just hurts inside to see, right? Because Tea Time is so close to making so many good plays, but every single one, they just get halted again and again and again. And it's just so sad to see. But as I say that, 2 more barriers were taken, but we were here just moments ago.
We were indeed. We, in particular, was definitely there with the X in front of the net, looking for the final goal. Has a lot of meter available, but they're just playing keep away. Wee's not getting the core. Turbo might have to flip it away. And Trevor's flip just gets struck away by Wallaby. The strikes have been on another level from Atlas's Gardeners here, making the difference, making it so difficult to find anything from Tea Time.
Yeah, but there's that flip. Turbo, he finally finds it for Tea Time, and he gets a point for them. And it's still very sketchy because look at everything that was burned. 2 flips, and I think even a 3rd was burned by Trevor. I don't... It's not looking great.
The meter difference is crazy. 3 flips available for Atlas's Gardeners. All the meter at the very bottom for Tea Time. A KO found as well. General Twee now in the corner. And if they can get it to Wallaby forward. But right now it's being interrupted by Turbo quite well here. Slowing down the play, stalling out the respawn. And a great primary by Trevor as well. Will make sure Wee gets to come back.
Yeah, I mean, good usage of abilities by Trevor to make sure that time is bought. But Remember, the abilities being used there means they are no longer up, so now the offensive side of Tea Time needs to find some sort of play or some sort of ability to stall it out to make sure that these barriers don't get taken. And as I say that, the barrier does actually fall. And now Turbo on this offense, they have to deal with 2 flips, but none of them are even needed. There's that X Maximus, a great log to even stop the offense.
Turbo and Wii to the top side now, looking for another opportunity, but the slimes are so dangerous. Turbo fishes it out of the corner, but Wii's not getting a good setup. Bertram just patient, waiting for Wii to make a move, and then it's an easy reaction for the veteran Dubu here.
Yeah, and now onto the exact opposite side, Wallaby, he has this whiplash. He doesn't exactly need it yet. A great flip out by Trevor. Does clear it for the time being. It goes back around to Turbo. Turbo might need a flip of his own. It goes down to Wii. The bull rush, not enough yet. The flip down to the bottom corner. A great hit stun. Finds that second barrier. And now Wii, he has a strike. The Bertram flip goes across to the opposite side. But now it's up to Wallaby. A great secondary stops Wallaby's strike. But it might all be over. No hit stun found from that pendulum swing. But Trevor, he is in a really tough situation.
And once again, it comes down to the strike war. General Twee getting the better of Turbo yet again. And a lot of it has to do with the direction of the strike, right? Turbo is striking forward a lot of the time. And guess what space is easiest for the opposing player to cover? Forward.
Yep. You can kind of expect people to shoot it forward, right? We were talking about the soft cast too, right? If you start to dribble around, if you start to kind of try to mix people around, it's harder for them to expect it, right? Because the forward shot is the most direct play.
And it's the easiest to answer, as General Twee is doing here. So far, the Crystal Thorn's a little scary, but again, the patience coming out from Atlas Gardner is making it difficult to play for Tea Time. Looking for one barrier, but plenty of slimes left, and Wallaby will take the first barrier of this point. Returned in kind by Turbo, but now it's Wallaby on the breakaway. Look at that patience and the vertical shot, too, to maintain possession. Brilliantly played by Wallaby.
Yeah, I mean, a great flip out by Wallaby, and now Trevor, he burns that secondary, doesn't have has to burn the flip, goes down to the opposite side. Bertram does roll to save it. Now Wii has this flip, actually misses it, and no Maximus either. General Twee has a flip of his own, it's not even needed. The bounce out by Wallaby, and he finds another set for Atlas's Gardeners.
And as solidly as Turbo is playing a lot of these midfield interactions, the matchup that you mentioned at the start of the game is really coming into play, right? And that hot shot appearing as well for the Juno. It does get Fight or Flight over. That is the one saving grace. But Among Titans is also there, so it's a little awkward.
Yeah, so what do you think happens here? Should the Among Titans go on this Atlas? I guess perfect form is pretty great. It's not getting to that X. But look at what's left. X may be left with something awkward, and definitely is.
Yeah, it's going to be... Oh, actually goes for the Among Titans. Okay. Values the speed over the size in this situation. And in a rare case, I think I have to agree here. Because right now, the X is just getting outmaneuvered. So even though he'll be way weaker due to less size, just being there in the first place might come into play. But that X is tiny.
That's the tiniest X primary I have ever seen. Because I've never seen an X pick up Among Titans. But yeah, this is there's always a first, right? And General Twee jumping to his death into that expanse, but still no barrier yet to be found. Trevor needing to find these passes forwards. Wallaby actually taking a lot of damage, right? Has to burn that evade, and now with no evade to deal with the Maximus, actually gets denied the orb and falls as well. But Tea Time needs to make use of this power play.
Oh, a bit of an overextension by Trevor. As the barrier does fall, they still have the power play. They still have an opportunity here, but the tiny X can't get good abilities onto the core. The core speed picking up now. Wallaby sending it forward. General Twee winning yet another strike war, and Wallaby catching the flip as well. Perfect prediction. 2 points away are Atlas's Gardeners from taking this first game in the best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, one might say it's just Atlas's Gardeners map pick, but the thing is, they've looked so dominant that I don't even know if we can just give them that excuse.
It's also a pretty neutral map, right? AtLab is the map that every team knows how to play on because it is the map of Omega Strikers.
Bertram continues to hold, right? It's not until Turbo gets that piercing shot that the barrier falls, right? Lee on his own really just cannot deal with Bertram right now. And yeah, Turbo needs to be there, and he is there. He finds that barrier. He has a flip ready, and he doesn't even need the flip to score, as a great strike layering sequence comes in from Wii.
Okay, low-key, I think the log should have stopped that one, though. Save Dubu.
Yeah, save Dubu, save Dubu.
But yeah, really good strike layering by Wii. Good offense by T-Time on that one. Really using, like you mentioned, the follow-ups from Turbo. But again, this Hotshot Juno is just such a constant threat.
Yeah, I mean, this Hotshot Juno putting in so much work. The double flip actually found. And then the hit stun to end it all. Wallaby taking another point, putting them onto game points.
Yeah, a bit of panic coming out from T-Time, and who wouldn't panic, right? Two barriers vanishing like that, the core in such a bad spot, and still so much meter available, right? Even after flipping for that, there's still a flip left on the other two members of the team. Wallaby and Bertram sitting pretty here. One barrier loss is negligible. It's a write-off at this point.
Yeah, I mean, again, Atlas, Dubu, both defensive goalies that don't need that second barrier, but don't need that first barrier, but the second barrier is definitely needed as Trevor misses it, and that flip not really accomplishing much. There's still two flips on the opposite side. The flip from Wallaby Gangsta, a great secondary to save it, and now he needs to accomplish something with his flip. It's not yet built, but Bertram has one of his own, and he may very well use it on this defense. Not needed just yet as the members of Atlas's Gardeners walk back for this defense, and now General Twee, Wallaby Gangsta looking to close it out. They have a lot of abilities to their name, but the defense from T-Time is looking really good.
Yeah, but the offense hasn't even gotten started. Bertram still has a flip available. No threat to the Dubu so far. It's going to be hard to threaten the Dubu when the core is being kept on offense so much. Turbo with a good strike at the last second to get the core out of there, but getting it past General Twee is such an obstacle.
Yeah, I mean, General Twee playing this midfield so well, especially with the fully stacked stacks on stacks. And then there's that red core in overtime. Trevor, you need to get a good flip here. If the flip is missed, it'll be all but over. And there's that red core, a great flip to save the offense, but there's still two flips on the opposite side. And barrier actually found out by Wee, but General Twee looking to end it here. He's flipping. Where does this go? It's stopped by the secondary. Wee looking for that redirect. The strike shot doesn't manage to stop it. Bertram, he has a flip of his own. He is ready to use it. This X Maximus beating down, but not really getting much done. Turbo needs to find a good angle to Wee, and Wee needs to find an even better one to score.
And this flip's going to be huge. It's way too close to the wall there. The angle's so limited. And now General Twee setting it at such a fast pace. One good slime will secure Wallaby, keeping control of the core, interrupted by Turbo. Good on the midfielder, but it's still such a difficult situation. The Crystal Sword is not going to reach, and General Twee now about to throw those slimes forward. Turbo blinking in, but Bertram still has the flip. That flip has been here for forever in this point, since the very start of the point, finally used to save the day, and now the resources are gone.
And I mean, a great patient strike out by Trevor, but with no flips left on the offensive T-Time, this is looking very tough for them. But maybe the holds are all we need, right? Trevor needs to keep holding, and eventually we or Turbo will find something. And they do, as they mix up Bertram. Turbo with a great strike.
Trevor held so well that point, so long, stalled enough to get Bertram's flip and the goal, and T-Time stay alive here. A goal here would put them back in the game, would start the scaling for the Sparks of Wii, but this point's going to be so hard.
Yeah, he is the milkman, and the milkman is what they call him. But we need to see more of that, and we need to see more barriers coming out from Turbo and Wii, as Trevor only has one barrier left to hold, right? We see one taken there, and the offense continuing, right, as Wee sits in this corner. Bertram's log does manage to buy more time, but look at this. General Twee almost has his flip. Wallaby is not too far from one of his own, either.
Yeah, and that flip out from Trevor, although it got him out of a sticky situation, it's still not great. The Tofu Fortress creating so much terrain on the top side, and this defense so difficult. The cooldown's being burned by the second. A great clear angle to get around the slime there. But Bertram is defending just as well on the opposite end of things.
Yeah, and I think the very crucial thing is that Turbo needs to not die, but there it is. There's that open net. There's two flips in front of Trevor. Turbo, we need to see something from you on this offense. And we do, as that second barrier does get taken. But there's the flip. Where does it go? It gets stopped. It goes down to Wallaby. Trevor, no abilities. And that's a 3-0 for Atlas's Gardeners.
That was such a tragic, desperate play. T-Time almost managed to nullify the flips. It was so close, but not enough. And Atlas Gardeners will close it out, but there were real signs of life at the end of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looked way more possible than the first two sets, and I want to see more of this. And I really want to see T-Time put an even better dent into Atlas's Gardeners, or hey, maybe even a game.
Definitely possible here. We'll head into Night Market next, which is the map pick for tea time. Atlas Gardeners will be on blue side for this one. And we'll see the character draft shortly.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts about them continuing to ban Luna? Do you think it is the correct play, or do they switch it up?
I think they could afford to let the Luna through. I think that it is a valid ban, but I think they might want to target the Juno, especially if they want to pick Estelle.
Yeah, because I think Turbo has looked very comfortable on the Estelle. I think even more so than the Aimee compared to when we saw him earlier. But Estelle, in and of itself, struggles a lot into Juno. And yeah, we could just get rid of that Juno, and there it is. Estelle versus Luna. I feel like that is a lot more neutral. Bear in mind, the way General Twee typically plays it, he plays for a lot less damage-focused Luna. So I think maybe based on the core control focused Luna, it does favor Estelle more. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how that dynamic plays out. And of course, banning the Brawler is definitely not an option here.
Yeah.
Wallaby's pool is way too deep for that. And also, the Brawler is... The pick itself is not the problem.
Yeah.
And you can't ban the goalie out either. Bertram will just pick a different melee goalie or maybe something else. This is what happens when a team has flexible players.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe there's some argument for putting Bertram on something he is slightly less comfortable on. Like putting him on maybe like the Asher or the Kai, or I don't know if he plays Mako or Atlas, but it is, again, Mako or Atlas. You can just pick it up and play it. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the best ban is just ban Juno and hope for the best. We have a Stagger Swagger Demolitionist start, and Atlas Gardeners is on blue side once again.
Yeah, and Atlas Gardeners, on the other hand, they have a very simple draft strategy that's proven to be quite effective. Just take Trevor off comfort, and even though Trevor played really well, especially in the last set of that previous game, Trevor is noticeably less comfortable off of the Mako, and it's working.
Unfortunately for them, he is slightly less of a milkman off the Mako. Right.
Also on that name, you said during the game that's why they call him the milkman, but we haven't called him the milkman like during the game.
Hey, we're not the ones calling him the milkman. The viewers are the ones.
Are the viewers? Are you sure?
Something. I don't know. Anyway, this draft still hasn't started, I guess. The team's really thinking, Atlas Gardeners especially, really thinking about what they want to ban. Maybe they don't ban the Mako. I don't know. I think it's just a Mako ban, honestly.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Unless they want to do something really funny and like leave the Mako open and then pick it up themselves. But I don't. I think it's just better just like ban Mako and then just play your comfort.
It looks like they haven't started yet, which is...
wow.
Oh, we're just waiting, I guess.
Look, the team's really thinking deeply and probably taking a break after what was a close third set, honestly, and arguably a pretty stressful third set for both teams because it kept on going back and forth, and there were a few times where Bertram, he typically holds really well. It looked like even he got a little nervous at times. And I mean, yeah.
I don't know where Tea Time are. That they're just now responding. I trust that they'll be back. I trust that we'll get in the draft for game 2.
The milkman is getting the milk. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, the milkman is gone to get the milk.
That means he's never coming back.
All good. Anyway, on the other side, right, Turbo, it's tough because I do really want to believe in Turbo and Wii, but just figuring out how to kind of take that offense against Bertram is really difficult. And yeah, okay, draft has already started. Atlas's Gardeners, no surprise, ban the Mako. Interested to see if Tea Time choose... No, they still go for the Luna. All right. we may really just see a salty run back on the characters.
Yeah, it looks like that's what we're gonna see. Oh, the Juliet for Wallaby. Okay, that's something that we have seen a lot in the past, so that's going to be a big strength for them here, especially on a start like this. Wonder if Wallaby's going to go for the size or the stagger swagger. I think it will depend on the opposing composition, though.
Personally, I feel like, okay, I guess depending on the damage, I am more inclined to believe Wallaby will take the stagger, but looking at this Atlas Rasmus, Atlas does do a surprising amount of damage, and Rasmus is no slouch either. Interested to see, like, how we will pilot this Rasmus, because it didn't look amazing before. On the other side, we have General Twee reverting back to the era, so no Juno looking to mix up Trevor.
Yeah, they're really playing to funnel Wallaby in this one. On the other end, we'll see how the Now does. Gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Night Market can lead to long games, but it also can lead to one team taking over with core control, with the speed, pushing down the lane. So we'll see if Tea Time can find their footing in this one.
Yeah. Tea Time definitely need to figure out a way to find their footing, right? And I think the Now into Era matchup is a start, right? Because Now traditionally does win that matchup. But you also need to figure out how the heck are we going to get past Bertram. Right? The Dubu stopped Estelle X. I think it is easier to score as Estelle X than now Rasmus, right? Against Dubu?
Well, we'll have to see, because Estelle, like, as a...
Estelle has to deal with Juno too, right? So...
Yeah, it's a little awkward in that kind of dynamic. I think it's a bit rough either way when it comes to pure scoring, but maybe they'll be able to find their speed with the Now.
Yeah. Hey, I played with this Turbo guy on the Now. He was cooking. That's all I'm saying, and I want to see more of that, right? I want to see if he can figure his way out into cooking up a win against the Atlas's Gardeners. And wow, this time, yeah, Wallaby Gangsta opting for the Mag Souls and opting for size, right? Both brawlers going size, everyone else going stagger stuff.
Yeah, and a brawler with Mag Souls on Night Market is so scary. You can jump from the midfield line to the speed gate to the enemy goal box in basically an instant. It is such overwhelming speed here from Wallaby, and he's really playing around the win condition.
Yeah, and I mean, Turbo dodging away from that dash punch is actually pretty crucial. It allows them to continue their offense, and well, with the extra body still alive, it means you win more strike wars, and now we may see the second barrier taken a patient strike out by Bertram. Means that no second barrier falls just yet for Atlas's Gardeners.
Awkward Tofu Fortress keeps the core trap, prevents the offense from continuing there as Wallaby. A patient strike to the top side. That's the type of gameplay we like to see as another barrier does fall. These last barriers going to be so crucial here if we and Turbo can overload, but it's going to be a Wallaby 1v1 looking low, but still staying alive just barely, and finally sniped out by Turbo at melee range.
And wow, great strike out by Wee, right? Wee finding that, and I think they need to use their flips now. Make sure they guarantee the goal while Wallaby's dead, and yes, smartly, they do.
Yeah, Wee looking solid, Turbo looking solid. They're looking comfortable on Night Market. They can keep the core more contained in the lane, prevent the long passing plays that were happening in the previous game from Atlas's Gardeners.
Yeah, and I mean, Wee not having this energy is a little risky with how much damage he has been taking, and more damage surprisingly coming in from Dubu. The lifeline and the Celestial Intervention popped to make sure that Wee doesn't die here, and he takes one barrier thanks to that. The great roll out by Bertram means that Turbo can't find that second barrier, and now Turbo having to burn his flip makes that really awkward. It also first out Bertram's flip, so that's actually not too bad.
But Bertram finds the perfect angle, right? Finds it all the way around for the barrier, and General Twee trying to do the same, forcing the flip out of Trevor, and now Wee to the top side, but a roll perfectly aimed by Bertram will prevent that. Wee, though, still pushing into the corner, and Wallaby and General Twee, I think, will need a little bit more speed before they can really fly.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more speed, but Era is one of those characters that definitely loves to scale, and we may very well see that. We getting some great dribbles, and the lifeline means that Turbo can actually find that strike to the bottom side. T-Time looks kind of revitalized.
Absolutely, and they're really playing these lanes so well, playing to the win conditions of the now so well, like you mentioned, with the lifeline going forward. And it kind of feels like they're making it so that Atlas Gardener's offense just can't really play their game.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels something akin to what General T was doing with the Juno last game, right? With now kind of stomping on Era's feet and making sure that she cannot really enable Wallaby as much as they were hoping to with this comp.
Yeah, but keep in mind, this is still the first set. Still plenty of scaling left to be had for these characters here. And General Twee and Wallaby combined to find the barrier. And maybe they don't need to scale. Maybe they just need to get 3 points here.
Yeah, I mean, they may very well find it. They are down a deficit of 2 points, but they have an open barrier to work with. A great death touch out by Wii means the second barrier does fall. Turbo needs to be a little bit careful with his life, but there's a Celestial intervention to back him up. A good pass out by Wii means that it does go to the top side, but a great dash punch out by Wallaby means that Turbo does pay for it with his life, but a great flip out by Trevor buys some time for Turbo.
Bertram now looking for a passing opportunity to NATO. Not too effective in the moment. And Trevor... Oh no! Turbo goes down, and Trevor barely making the save, but it's another power play in the favor of the Atlas's Gardeners. And Wallaby's working on a flip. General Two working on a flip. They can score without flip here, and they do. That's 3 flips available.
And I feel like the momentum may just have flipped, right? With 3 full energy bursts available for Atlas's Gardeners, this is looking tough for T-Time.
Very, very tough. As Wallaby going for the dash punch flip. Unable to get the KO though. Turbo barely surviving there. And that's huge. That's a big resource burned. Those cooldowns gone for a while longer. And General Twee now helping damage Turbo. But Turbo staying alive quite well.
Yeah, Turbo, his HP bar is still looking okay. General Twee with a good flip to take 1 barrier, but no second barrier means that with no offensive flips, it's definitely going to be looking a little bit more dangerous. And now Bertram keeping the core forward, committing some abilities to do so, but since the core isn't back on his side, he is free to do whatever he wants.
And Turbo secondaries have just been so great. They often speed up Wii in the process, but they interrupt the offense from T-Time, from Atlas's Gardeners, and help T-Time just rotate around so well. And we're seeing that right here, stealing the core away, finding 1 barrier so quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, the second barrier is definitely quite a far distance away with that Tofu Fortress supporting them. A good flip out by Trevor gets it down to Turbo. Now Turbo needs to get out. Can't let it go back to Wallaby. And with a great hit into that proximity drone, it's not looking terrible. But look, Bertram still has this flip. No pressure has been put on him.
Yeah, Bertram standing very calmly in the other side of the map. Finally has to burn the flip on the defense, and Wallaby makes it a little bit scary, but it's still a defense made. But we, on the follow-up, will find the barrier. 1 more opportunity here, and the Whiplash will secure it. T-Time with the first set.
Yeah, T-Time finding this first set is a little bit of Whiplash in and of itself, right? And we getting the MVP. What is he rewarded with? Not particularly much in my opinion. I guess the Catalyst, Spark Scaling, Perfect Form, I don't know. Anything you see?
A Catalyst is good, but yeah, it's not really like that. Perfect Form is probably going to be pick up here for Wallaby, as there are plenty of Great Awakenings on the board. And with the additional cooldowns, I think Wallaby will be able to do so much work. And the cast last on Era as well. Everyone just got what was good.
Yeah, everyone got something pretty good, right? Super Surge for now, like, can't really underestimate how much damage it actually does put out, because it does do a surprising amount of damage. And then Atlas getting Twin Drive, there's a Perfect Form on the board, a great save out from that NATO. But yeah, as I said, everyone has everything they want.
Yeah, and Wallaby's got the cooldown component and finds the drive-by dash punch onto Turbo. Trevor now feeling a little alone in the goal box as Wii comes back to help defend. The 1 expanse burned here, and NATO splits the Red Sea, but Wallaby still pushing forward. Bertram has walked all the way up with the speed gate, but the defense is still being made by T-Time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked that that expanse actually saved it away from the strike of Wallaby. And now Wallaby taken off the map thanks to that death touch. General Twee has a flip of his own, but not really getting a chance to use it. The great preemptive roll out by Bertram, making sure that no offense can come. But a great NATO, General Twee taking Wee off the map. No barrier to be found in response yet. There's that flip out from Wee, but what happened there?
Trevor misstruck right into the barrier, and that is tragic for Tea Time. Now their barrier's wide open, an open net at their back, and Wallaby, it's only a matter of time before he gets one hit onto the core here, but the core is bouncing around the terrain. Wallaby looking for an opportunity. We as well on the other end. The pass is interrupted. Wallaby in position, but a good strike shot by Trevor, and another strike war really patiently navigated.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor also really patient with a lot of these plays, recognizing that there's no dash punch up for Wallaby, so he can play that far back. A good roll out by Bertram. Bertram, he just keeps holding. This line is finding a way to show his pride, and, well, he continues to hold, but this offense just keeps going.
We keeping possession quite well here, forcing the flip out of Bertram. Wallaby, though, trying to transition to the offense here, but a good secondary by Trevor. Has two of those. The twin drive coming into play quite well here. An awkward bounce as it goes to Wee, but the Tofu Fortress stops it in its tracks. A bounce in the midfield. Just gets plugged up for the moment, and Wallaby helping to send the core forwards here as the core glows red. Wallaby rushing forward still, Flame Flurry in the face of everybody, but it's a hook by Wee sending it away. General Twee actually primarying it backwards to help out, and does actually help out. It makes it easier for Bertram to get to it, and Wallaby finally has flip available.
Oh. And I mean, a great weight out by Trevor, but it just goes back to Wallaby, and Trevor in a 50-50 situation loses it.
Wow, really good defense by both teams there, but in the end, Wallaby so reliable in the scoring department. Twee with a flip available still, and that energy might be the key to cracking open the barriers early.
Yeah, I mean, Wallaby committing that dash there, right, doesn't have it for this next offense, but there's so many creations drop in front of the Tea Time net. But despite all of it, they still hold on to one barrier, forcing out General Twee's flip.
Yeah, one barrier for a flip. Not the greatest trade. You'll definitely take it though if you expect a long point, right? Plenty of time to build up that energy back. And General Twee with that early flip, I think, getting a lot of value as the meter has already been built back up.
Yeah, I mean, no catalyst to his name, but yeah, that meter is just building. Turbo trying to get it out of Wallaby's hands so he can't make any more plays. Good strike wars, one out by Wee, but there's that second barrier. It finally falls, but Wallaby's looking kind of low, right? And doesn't have an Atlas actually to heal him up, so he has to kind of walk back and take the orb. But now look, General Twee's in front of the net. He wants to flip. The great flip answer out by Trevor, and now Bertram dribbling it, giving a chance to get it back to Wallaby. And now this is a really awkward situation for Trevor to be in.
Fished out by Wee right on time, and Turbo setting up the triangle, sends the core forwards yet again. Bertram in the corner now, but it's Wallaby on the breakaway. No, it's sent to the other side with so much core speed. But General Twee and Wallaby connect once again. The core held with the Flame Flurry, but still it's stolen away by Turbo, who sends it right back to Wee. They can't get a clean passing play though.
Yeah, I mean, no clean passes means that Bertram can continue to hold this flip, but there's a flip from Wee, answered out by Bertram. Turbo looking for a chance to fish it back. The dead touch actually interrupted by the roll. It continues back to the other side. It goes right past the NATO. The pendulum swing, perfect.
Wow, that was really, really good from Trevor too, right? Completely read the dribble by Wallaby, preemptively primaried, and that core speed sent the core around the world.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen core speed do so much today, right? Not just with this Atlas, but even Juno games before, right? And that is definitely something to watch out for. But, you know, who else we watch out for? Wallaby with the flip right in front of the Tea Time nets.
Bertram in the corner, continuing to defend here. We walking up, but Bertram has plenty of speed to work with the era. But it does feel like Turbo has a much easier time in these midfield interactions compared to General Twee, right? Turbo has so many tools, rushing forward there for a barrier, and will be trying to get even more here as Wallaby flips to do some chip damage, but only chip damage is done.
Yeah, Turbo still able to live, right? And reminder, that's that stagger swagger. He is back to full HP. Wallaby committed the flip for that.
Yeah, and this barrier is still standing. Trevor has a flip available, so many defensive resources. Wallaby, though, baiting out the strike shot. Wait a second. If they can get to Wallaby one more time, but the dash is strike ward away.
Yeah, now Turbo waiting patiently, looking for that pass to Wii, because look, Wii almost has that flip. He has this flip now, looking for a death touch. Where does this go? So many resources committed to stopping that flip from going into action. And now Wallaby looking kind of low, but he wants to look for a scoring play of his own. A good dribble attempt out by Wii, but nothing really found yet. Turbo trying to find this pass. He finds the pass, mixes up Bertram, as Bertram doesn't expect it to go between him and Twee.
Well played by Wii, looking like the Wallaby from the previous game here. And with the flip still available on Trevor, with the flip coming up for Turbo, the defensive end is solid as well for Tea Time in this next point. But they still need to continue holding. If they don't continue holding, that kind of thing happens. Bertram walks up and the point's already over. It's only 12 seconds.
Oh no, that... let's just erase that point from our minds and let's just move on. Because that really did not look good, but what's really not looking good, Tea Time, they have to deal with 2 flips on the opposite side, and the only flip they have is a defensive flip out by Trevor. But Trevor has used these defensive flips pretty well and has held a lot of points. But there's that flip. Actually answered. He burns his flip, but he still gets the strike. That's 1 barrier taken, potentially a second. Strike were not won out by Wii, but it's still a favorable trade for Tea Time.
Really patient strikes, though, from General Twee against Wii, converting into a barrier take on the other end of things. And Wallaby looking for a dash punch, but it's not going to be quite enough. Still, no knockback awakenings on this Juliet, unfortunately, as Wii sends the core forwards. A great shrink slows the play down, though. And Bertram, perfect pendulum swing by Wii. Looking for the shot now. It goes to Wii. And a flip away from Bertram is forced, but the Tofu Fortress is good. General Twee ahead of the play for now, as Turbo is slowed down. The hit stun good, but it's saved away by Trevor once again. Top side, wow. Wii with the patience and the whiplash, and Tea Time make it out alive.
Yeah, I mean, Wii calling out as he flies across with that whiplash, and can we just talk about how perfect that strike was to get out of the Flame Flurry?
Yeah, it was so good. And Wii with the killer instinct at the end as well. But the Monumentals will probably be denied away in 1-2 punch. Okay, Monumentals denied away from the Era before Era could deny it away from the Now. And that Monunado from Twee would have changed the game. So definitely the right pick there. And 1-2 punch probably going to be denied away from the Juliet as well here.
No, heavy impact, because keep in mind, right? 1-2 punch and heavy impact are both really great for Julie.
Yeah, well... Heavy impact a little bit better on the Now compared to the 1-2 punch. That'll be the deny of choice, and Wii becoming quite massive now. Those pendulum swings going to be such a threat to deal with. But with the 1-2 punch, Wallaby's going to find some dash punch KOs.
Yeah, I mean, he has been very close to finding a lot of them in previous points. But reminder, he has been playing with Mag Souls. Now that he has this 1-2 punch, he's going to be even stronger and have that mobility.
Almost dead, though. Needs to be careful here. Staggered away, and the core being stolen away. General Twee advancing with the NATO. Good evade out by Trevor, and Wallaby still needs to be careful.
Yeah, Wallaby having to burn that evade and having no more evade left. But look at this. There's still 1 barrier of leeway that Atlas's Gardeners has, and Bertram, he just continues to defend, continues to win these strike wars, and there's that 1-2 punch. He actually finds that kill on Turbo now.
Yeah, and with 1 barrier taken on the other end, that's just a consolation prize, though, as Bertram walks up. Tofu Fortress set. It goes right through the expanse. The Tofu is mightier than the space circle.
I mean, save Atlas, honestly. That's all I can say.
No. Let's not get it twisted. That's like the first time Tofu Fortress has worked in the past 3 stream days, okay?
Okay, you know what? I'll give you that
Dubu deserves that one.
Yeah, Dubu deserves some redemption. Anyway, right, we are getting into this next point. 1 barrier already taken, and Turbo nearly losing his life once more. Second barrier potentially falling. A good flip out by Wii, and damage actually getting dropped onto Wallaby, and he nearly gets taken off the map. But look, he's still alive. That means he still has this flip available.
Oh, but it's just being zoned away, unable to use it here. Wallaby running forward, finally gets a chance and converts into the barrier. Didn't play keep away long enough, and it's so difficult to open net now, and Atlas's Gardener still pushing forward. Wallaby with an opportunity now.
Yeah, but I mean, good strike wars out by Wii, right? Making sure that Wallaby doesn't get these chances. Wallaby burns that dash punch. He doesn't have it for these scoring opportunities now. One barrier taken out by Wii, but the strike war is still continuously won by General Twee instead. And now, Wallaby Gangsta, he does walk into that hook to make sure that it doesn't stay on the map. And looks for the dash punch. Doesn't really find anything. But now he finally gets taken off the map. But there's that flip already used by Trevor.
Flip available for Bertram, but it is an open net on their side as well now. Twee building up a lot of meter as Bertram tries to save it without using the flip. We'll have to burn it in the end, but Wallaby arriving right on time, fashionably late after the respawn, and so much core speed with the 1-2 punch in overtime. You got to watch out. You got to watch out for the single dribble into strikes.
And yeah, that almost went in. But look, Twee has a flip of his own, but he doesn't even need it as the dash punch surprisingly catches the cross clear.
Yeah, and that 1-2 punch is so powerful in overtime. Wallaby can just strike into the wall into an immediate punch, or the opposite, right? A punch into an immediate strike, and have so much control over a shot at long range, and so good against the Atlas. Not having to go through the Atlas, can go around the Atlas in the open net.
And on top of it, just because of what type of player Wallaby is, Wallaby loves to go for a lot more of these dribble plays, so it just suits him as a player, and he has used it so well multiple times.
Kind of makes me feel like it should have been denied here, even at the cost of a little bit of strength coming out from Tea Time. But this is the game. It is still Tea Time, up 2 sets. All they need is one collection of 3 points. But this set is looking a little bit bad for them here.
Yeah, definitely looking very bad with Wallaby now sitting in front with the flip. The flip being burned by Trevor. No flip out to answer by Wallaby just yet, but taking so much damage, has to burn the flip there in order to live. And still no barrier yet falling. General Twee looking for some sort of pass up. Follows up with a NATO, and there's that barrier. It's finally taken. No flip even needed. A strike war won now by Wallaby Gangsta.
That was a really clean strike war too. I think Trevor played that pretty properly, right? Struck it up, struck it vertically, made it difficult, but Wallaby had the perfect timing.
Yeah, I mean, Wallaby, he has been getting so many good strikes, and yeah, that Among Titan's already getting hovered. There's a fighter flight coming onto Wallaby. He's going to be even faster now, and I think the speed could be the death of Tea Time.
Yeah, fighter flight plus Among Titans, 2 of the strongest awakenings in the game coming through, and I think that Atlas's Gardeners have all the tools they need to make this reverse sweep happen now, as this draft is a little bit sad for Tea Time.
Okay, on the bright side, Dubu can't scale with more sparks.
Oh, but Dubu's already scaled. That's basically 3 sparks.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The peak performance is kind of a 3rd spark in and of itself, and wow, the double barrier already taken. And if you saw the damage that Turbo was taking, it was a little disturbing. And Wallaby, he ends that point in swift fashion.
It's not looking too great. Atlas's Gardeners got way too much in that last draft, and it was pretty much undeniable, right? The only thing that Trevor could have done was maybe take that Among Titans, but then the strike interactions get a little bit tougher for you on the defense. Yeah. So it's such an awkward trade-off to make.
Yeah, I mean, it really sucks to have to do, but hey, maybe that was the answer, but we won't yet know, because the side of Tea Time, they have to find a way to win with what they've been given, and still no barriers yet taken. Wallaby nearly kills Wee actually finding the dash punch evasion on time, and then there's that flip. That flip comes out, but still nothing, right? Tea Time still can't find anything.
Oh, but they do find the KO. Trevor with the astral projection. Get out of my face is General Twee trying to find something in the midfield. Turbo, though, winning the strike wars versus 2, patiently playing in a good strike shot by Trevor to avoid the core slip in behind. Still maintaining the barrier, though, as Bertram, and the respawn comes in as well. A flip away, a core to the other side, and the NATO making it dangerous here, but a good expanse by Trevor will buy some time and once again deflect away a flip.
Yeah, I mean, a good primary to deflect away that flip. They lose 1 barrier for it, and General Twee nearly pays for it with his life, but he does live. And this time, the Tofu Fortress not doing much, but Bertram can do much on his own as he actually manages to find that strike ward to defend. A good secondary to stop the dash punch, the clear up to Wee, and Wee is trying to find something on his own, but Bertram, he just keeps holding.
Yeah, setting up easy strike war situations for himself, right? That's what goalie is, making those strike interactions work for you, not you working to win those strike interactions. Oh, but unfortunately, Wallaby will go down there. Turbo, not long for this world either, sniped out by General Twee. It's a 2v2, but Wee has all the control in the world right now, and a bit of an ambitious hook there. But Trevor could send it rocketing forward with a primary. Wallaby already back, though. We'll be using that center speed, and you got to watch out for Wallaby.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that we can use this flip offensively instead of defensively, but actually has to use it to live against Wallaby. And I mean, I feel like while that is smart, it's not going to make it easy to score as they lose that barrier. We need to see a good dribble play out by Wee. Has to use the whiplash to make sure that the strike shot doesn't take it from his possession. And maybe he finds something here, a good step up and the clear out from Bertram. Turbo, where is this pass going to go? It goes down to General Twee, and now it just keeps changing hands. No goalie actually getting a chance to interact with the core.
Bertram, though, sending it forward. Oh, dangerous spot here, but Bertram finds a perfect clear, threads the needle, and the log will send it away. Wallaby now pushing forward. An opportunity with the Flame Flurry flip available for Wallaby, but it's burned for nothing. And Wallaby still pushing forward, but the Expanse is just too solid of an ability. And Wallaby still, again, finally the punch will do it. No one was ready for that needle being threaded through the Expanse in the wall.
Yeah, I think Trevor really just expected it to hit the Expanse and bounce down, but unfortunately the Expanse had contracted a little too much and it did just sneak through. And now, once again, Tea Time has to work hard if they want to figure out a reverse sweep in this set.
Not going to be easy here. Turbo looking low, looking to almost taken out here as Twee and Wallaby rush forward, looking for the dash punch, but Turbo stays alive this time. But Wallaby's just way too fast.
And he finds a great flip onto the opposite side, and with the Flame Flurry in his face, it might be over for Trevor, but no, Wallaby actually taking so much damage, making it really tough for him to sit on this front line. A great flip out by Trevor, and nearly killing Wallaby. He finally commits all those abilities, but now you also have to get it through Bertram's flip.
And Bertram could maybe look for a score here if the opportunity presents itself. A dangerous spot, one barrier lost, but honestly, with the respawn stalled out, you'll take that any day of the week. Wallaby back now, the big offensive threat coming in, and we desperately trying to play up close, but it's not working out.
Yeah, I mean, Turbo and Wee doing as much as they can, but look, General Twee, he has the flip. Where does it go? He just waits it out. The counter flip out by Wee, looking for a top side pass, actually just comes right back to him, looking for some sort of hit stun, doesn't find anything. Wallaby commits that punch. And then the Flame Flurry, there's that hook, where does it go? Turbo, looking for some sort of angle of his own, doesn't yet find it. And now Trevor needs to hold on this defense. But Bertram, he still has this flip, it's not yet used. But uh-oh, that's a missed primary, and that's set 5.
Oh no, Atlas's Gardener's now in such a dominant position here. Twee first pick, gonna pick up some even more midfield power here. And that additional speed is looking very tempting.
Yeah, and I mean, he has used the speed so well, and I don't think Twee has really been dying, right? It's just been Wallaby that's been taking the damage, and that's among Titan stacks. Now for Twee, he's going to be controlling this area fully. Extra special for Dubu, which is amazing, but I guess there is still missile prop for Atlas.
Yeah, but that extra special is, like, as good as Missile Prop Atlas is, that extra special, it makes it so that Bertram is going to have such an easy time on the defense, and nothing nearly as good for Tea Time here as Wallaby picks up the Might of the Colossus as well. We're truly in the end game now.
Yeah, I mean, likely so, right? Especially after we didn't get either of the Size Awakenings. I think the second one getting picked up by Turbo, oddly enough. And yeah, no barriers yet to be found, and look at the energy. It's already basically built up for the Gardeners.
And with that Tobu Fortress being on such a lower cooldown, with it being available every round, Bertram's chilling. Another KO found onto Turbo, and Twee and Wallaby have flips available. Twee will secure it. 2 goals remaining.
Yeah, I mean, 2 more to complete the reverse sweep, but can we just talk about that? Of all characters in Era, in 30 seconds, getting stacks 20 away from full.
Wait, what? that data must have been incredibly juicy then.
Yeah, it had to have been. And, well, 1 barrier piece. This is hopefully, you know, what Tea Time wants. They have to burn the slip to get it out, but Bertram just finds that as an easy clear, and now we looking for some sort of offense on the bottom side. A good strike shot out by Trevor. A good hook actually out by Wee to make sure that Wallaby dies. But there's that Tofu Fortress, an extra special Tofu for the defense. And now Bertram rolling forward. He is really going and playing this sort of offensive defense.
Yeah, keeping it preemptive to not get in bad situations. Bertram doing that expertly here. Plenty of cooldowns available, of course, with that Spark of Focus to Spark combination, along with that extra special. Tofu Fortress already up and going to be using it to make sure the top side is walled off. Wallaby almost KO'd, but Bertram's walking up now.
Yeah, and I mean, no death touch actually found on Bertram, but at least the core gets past General Twee. But it comes back to the other side, Wallaby looking kind of low and actually taken off the map once again. But General Twee in the faces of Tea Time. He finds it. He finds the flip from Trevor as well. But the great double shrink, that's a bewitching beam.
Yeah, I don't think Turbo thought that he needed to use flip there, but it was that kind of scenario. Twee with the 1v2, reminiscent of his beta glory, where he would 1v3 as the goalie in Grand Finals reset of critical tournaments. We don't talk about what happened after 1v3 though.
Yeah, but I mean, Turbo, that flip you're talking about, no longer to be seen as he's taken off the map, and that's one barrier already taken a second. We are in the end game. And Bertram, he has a flip. He wants to fly. And Wallaby, his flip is also almost generated.
Might not even need it at this rate as Wallaby goes for a double dash punch. If he had flipped, that was a double KO, but gets it now. Deflected away by Turbo, and Wallaby coming in once again. So many cooldowns available from this perfect form. Juliet and Bertram so sitting so comfortably with that energy available as Twee dribbles forward. But one barrier almost taken, one barrier self-taken as Bertram sends it away, and Wallaby playing the dribble game. Tea Time keeping it alive for the moment, but all it takes is one opportunity. Wallaby finds the striker advantage, looking for the final strike to close this one out.
Yeah, but look at the HP bars. The HP bars are not looking great. A good clear out by Trevor, finding the angle he needed. And now with General Twee having a flip of his own, he's looking to flip it and get it up to a Wallaby, or maybe even take a shot of his own. He's bringing it up slowly. Bertram passes it up to him. He is right in their faces. Where does it go? It goes to the bottom side, and they find it. Atlas's Gardeners qualify for Pick Your Poison.
In reverse sweep fashion. But even when they were down in this game, it didn't feel like it was fully out of their control, right? It felt like they were just gathering power.
Yeah, they're scaling. But unfortunately for Tea Time, they did not make it, but they definitely put on a show.
Yeah, there were plenty of good moments, plenty of great holds from Trevor. Amazing midfielding and scoring from Turbo, and of course we really threatened every single goalie in this qualifier. So Tea Time, when it comes to qualifying season for the leagues, I'm expecting them to go far, but for this particular tournament, this will be the end of the road.
Yeah, and with that in mind, I think the one thing I do want to say is, if this Tea Time team, that's a mouthful, if this Tea Time team sticks together, I am definitely excited to see where they go.
Yeah, anything else you want to say before we close for today?
Not really. I guess I'm just excited to see how Atlas's Gardeners will fare and Pick Your Poison.
Yeah, we'll have to look forward to that as, well, don't forget to watch Nassau tomorrow. Wait, I have to wake up for that. Nassau tomorrow, Nassau playoffs tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't forget to watch that one, and see you soon.